Conservation Commission meeting for Monday, November 20th, 2023. Time is 7:01 PM. Our first item on the agenda, the Master Plan Committee letter, possible votes. So I think we brought it up once before. Anyone looking to be on the Master Plan Committee? Eric?
No.
No? Mike? Mark?
Can't do it.
Okay. Let's see here. All right, once a candidate is nominated, each entity shall send the individual's contact information to Community Development Office. So maybe we can ask Jim and Katie Grace if they'd like to do it. Okay. Whiting Reservoir water readings, so those were passed along by email and they're also in your packet. Does anybody have any questions about those readings? Okay.
No.
Okay. Letter from JD Markadont. He's stating he's no longer involved in one of the projects that he's previously worked on, dated November 7th, November 1st. He wanted to notify us. Letter from Mass DEP, Whiting Reservoir Watershed withdrawal. Take a peek at that. They've withdrawn their request for a superseding order of conditions. That was a great decision. And meeting minutes. Do we want to take a look? We're all the way back in May at this point. So I wasn't there, so we can still vote. Everybody else was there?
No.
Let me just take, yeah.
No.
Nope, okay. So let's wait till Katie Grace, she may be on at 7:45. So let's wait for that one. We'll hold May 8th.
I checked all those. I'm not in.
Okay. May 22nd? I know, Joe, you were absent, but. Mike?
Pardon?
May 22nd, meeting minutes?
I haven't read them, so
Okay.
I should.
Anyone else for you? Okay, let's take a moment. Are you on?
No.
Okay.
Calling in.
Let's just take a moment and read the May 22nd.
So we'll talk about that.
Okay. Mark, did you ever get the PowerPoint from Steve that he promised for the conservation properties?
No.
Okay.
Did not.
Miracles on.
Okay. Looks like Jim Foran was missed under attendance. And then his name's spelled wrong on top of the second page. Oh, he was, okay, never mind. So, all right, so his name is wrong on the second page. Okay, great. What?
22nd meeting minutes, if okay.
All right,
Which one?
I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve the May 22nd, 2023 meeting minutes with the one revision to spelling of Mr. James Foran's name.
Okay, motion made by Mark,
Second.
second by Mike. All those in favor?
Is there a second?
Joe Fitzpatrick abstained.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Montam, aye.
Tracy Sharkey, aye. Okay. Are you ready to roll?
Yeah, these are also in your signature.
Okay.
We got them last time.
Oh, yes. All right. We'll put the other minutes on hold for now. 2024 meeting schedule,
Okay.
number 3.
I wanted to point out that I've resolved all my scheduling conflicts with the town of Mattapoisett.
Okay.
We're more than willing to move to Tuesday nights when they were having a conflict here.
Okay, that's very nice.
So that's very nice of them.
Yes.
And the only thing I wanted to point out is that presuming that you're going to continue to do first and third Mondays, the only date that doesn't work is May 27, which is Memorial Day. So you're either going to have to skip that one or come up with another time, a day.
Okay. Board. So we'll cross that one out, right?
For now, yeah.
Do we want to replace that meeting date or skip that meeting?
I make a motion to skip it.
Okay, is anyone else? All right. And then we typically have one meeting in June, July, and August. Do you want to keep the 2 meetings in June
Yes.
and then July 1?
I would go to one meeting in July 15th.
Okay, not July 1, because that's the Monday before the 4th.
I just think the 15th better splits June 17th and August 5th.
Anyone else? Yeah, okay, so we're omitting July 15th?
July 5th or July 1st?
I would have the meeting on July 15th and skip July 1st.
Oh, okay, we were saying the same thing. Okay,
Okay.
yep. Okay, and then you want to omit August 5th? Anybody? August 5th?
I think it pretty much gets you in the middle of all, you get a month apart, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have to ask for 21-day waivers if any applications came in, which is fine.
Yeah.
We just did that between October and now, but that's up to you.
I have requested that they do that every time. Anyway.
Yeah, let's just have the meeting on the 19th.
Okay. All right. And then Everybody good with those?
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the hearing schedule for 2024 as amended.
So made.
Motion made by Joe,
Second.
second by Mike. All those in favor?
Mike Aye.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Rocco, aye.
Mark Mangimani.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Brandon. Okay, CRG. Do we have any updates?
Gilboa Street. It's the cubes.
Yes.
So Art Allen's here tonight for that.
All right. Do I see him?
He's
Oh, there he is.
there he is, so
Good evening, Art.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you? You have an update for us?
Yep, just wanted to get on about one issue in particular at the Cubes of Gilboa. I believe they are getting close to the end of construction. They were proposed to finish in December. My last inspection was on November 10th, and I provided a report dated November 10th. One issue in particular, I had some back and forth with the Clay Corp representative, Bob Mesker, after I sent that report. I was requesting that they stabilize the area under the bridge on the south bank of the Mumford River, under the new bridge coming off Gilboa Street. That area, as you might remember, has been the source of several sediment discharges while they've been working on the bridge and the access road. Right now, it's just, there's mud between the riprap and the top of the bank. There's a silt fence in place. It's been undermined a couple times, and they've had sediment discharges, so there's been ongoing recommendations from myself and from the SWIP inspectors to stabilize that area, clean and stabilize that area. Mr. Mesker's response the last time I commented after the November 10th report was that they plan to do that when they decommission that area and pull the silt fence, and that he said it's too dangerous to get in there right now to do that work. I'm not quite sure what he means by dangerous. I mean, I walk under there, through there, under the bridge every time I inspect the site. You know, the contractors have been down there before. I don't see why they can't get that area stabilized now versus, you know, potentially having it go through the winter and, you know, and having more problems, you know, especially if it ends up in that condition in the spring with spring runoff and high flow levels in the river. I mean, I really think they should get that side of the riverbank stabilized and cleaned up and put it to bed. But, you know, Mr. Mesker didn't seem like that was possible, or they weren't willing to do it. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, that's the main issue. I mean, there was one other issue in my report. They had de-watered the infiltration, the main infiltration basin. Evidently, just before my last inspection, they had filter bags in place and some extra siltation barriers, but they de-watered it towards Wetland D and Uxbridge, which has had prior impacts. It didn't look like there was a significant impact from this episode, but they are required to have daily monitoring when they're discharging dewatering, and evidently they didn't do that. The SWIP inspectors weren't aware that they were dewatering. So that's, you know, just more of an observation. Not a huge issue, but again, I'm particularly concerned about getting that south bank of the Mumford River cleaned up and stabilized. And I know Mr. Mesker was invited to attend tonight. I don't know if he's here, if he can speak to this, but that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, is anyone here on behalf of CRG? Nope. Okay, what do you think? Request them to,
Yeah, I think you should do exactly what Art is telling them to do, because it sounds like this could be a serious matter over the wintertime.
okay. You need a formal vote?
No,
Okay.
there's nothing to require us to vote, just a head nod from everybody.
Yes.
Okay, so what would you like me to do exactly? Or Art?
Hello?
Send the,
I'll get some.
Excuse me.
yes?
I'm sorry, I had the wrong mute button on. This is Mitchell Roush with Playco.
Oh, hi, good evening. Were you listening to what our,
I apologize.
yep,
Yeah, I had the wrong mute button, and so I apologize.
that's okay.
So,
So were you listening to our consultant and you agreed
Yes.
to implement what he is requesting as soon as possible?
no. No. We have the silt fence in place. The silt fence is doing what silt fence is designed to do, and as necessary, we're cleaning out behind it. We will, at the time when we are turning everything over, we will replace everything. It will be put back as normal. The riprap is doing its job in protecting the erosion in the slope. Now, there is some, and it's typical with any rain that there will be some sediment that does run with rain. But again, the silt fence is doing its job. Whenever we get information from our contracted SWIP inspector, we do address the issues. As far as the water discharge, I will take responsibility that I missed letting my SWIP inspectors know that we were discharging. Again, we ran everything through filter sacks multiple times, so it was clean water discharge. But again, I take responsibility for not informing our SWIP inspectors on that.
Okay. What?
Move back to Art.
Art, can you respond for the board, for the commission?
Yeah, I question why that area on the bank of the river can't be cleaned up and stabilized now. I mean, there's no more work going on down there. It's been an ongoing problem area. You know, there's mud and sediment accumulated there right now. The silt fence has been undermined several times, overtopped by the river, undermined by runoff. I mean, why can't it be just done now and completed? I mean, the SWIP inspectors have been asking for this also.
Those are my contracted SWIP inspectors. I'll follow up with them and what their assessment is. And as we've asked multiple times, Art, when you show up on site, if you could grab one of us and show us the items that you're coming up with, it would help with addressing these issues a lot easier and quicker.
Well, you know the issue I'm talking about. I mean, why can't that be done now?
Again, I'm asking that next time you're on site that you grab one of my people, go down there. We will more than happy take a look at what you're seeing and address the issue.
Okay, so I think moving forward now, the board by consensus is requesting that area at the bank of the river be stabilized and cleaned, as is being requested by our consultant. So I don't know if you need any other further clarification, but the commission is requiring you to do that.
And I'd be glad to meet you down there whenever.
We'll address. I'll be on site Monday, Mark. So please feel free to stop in and see me. We'll address it.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'll plan to come on Monday.
Tracy.
Mark has a
Yes.
question.
Yep.
I mean, I would just like to say that the contractors seem to imply that it is stabilized already. They said the riprap is working as it's supposed to, but there seems to be a reoccurring issue there. So should we be getting them to come up with a plan to show how this stabilization is going to work long-term? What they're going to do to make it a long-term repair?
He was saying the silt fence is working as planned, as it should be. So,
That it's getting undermined and that there is.
right, so they're gonna take care of it on Monday. Right? That's what I heard. They've agreed to remedy it and meet Art on site to make sure that they address it.
Is that correct, Art? Can you be there on Monday or go there on Monday?
Yeah, I'll plan to be there on Monday, and I would hope after Monday, they'll come up with a plan to, you know, and I'll pass that on to the commission. I'll share that information with the commission.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Should I stay for, will we be discussing 45 Oak? Do you need me to stay for that? The solar project?
Let me take a,
Even on?
let me take a peek.
I don't even remember it. I don't think it is.
Not on for tonight.
Okay, yeah, they're in pretty good shape right now anyways. So.
Good, finally. Okay, thank you so much. Have a great night.
Pleasure. Have a good holiday.
Thanks, you too. Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye.
Okay, the Keven property, 41 Pine donation. So I believe we left it where there was a request for the materials to be made, and then Highway and Open Space were working on clearing the parking area.
Okay, on this one really started before me,
Yes,
and I don't know anything about this one.
okay.
So I apologize, but I don't know anything.
Okay, so we need to request an update from Open Space, and Steve has received a quote, I believe, from Will Anderson. He's still able to make the sign. So the sign verbiage has been approved by the Keven family. So we've got Will Anderson
Okay.
and Open Space Committee is going to work with Highway Superintendent about the parking area. And we were gonna do the sign. So
So does anything need to be done on our end?
I think we need to see if the sign's made,
Okay.
and if it's not made, if we need to vote to allocate the funds, whatever the estimate was from Will Anderson.
Okay.
I don't recall us voting on not to exceed. I don't think we voted. That was just at the tail end. And then Open Space Committee, if you can find out if they've made any progress with the parking area. Because I think the parking area needs to be cleared before the sign can be installed.
Okay, I can do that.
Thank you. Okay, Lakeshore Drive enforcement order, signatures, possible votes.
I don't think there's anything really to sign or vote on at the moment.
Okay.
The enforcement order was ratified, and at the moment, I think it's just any, continuing discussion with yourselves and members of the public.
Okay, well, it's under discussion, so I don't really have,
I believe there are people in the audience who would like to speak on it.
Okay.
It would be good to get an update, because some things have been done.
okay, all right. Have you been speaking to the people that are doing the
I
work?
have not, it's been pretty quiet. I've been getting some emails. There have been some letters sent to the commission. I know that a kind of a scupper with a pipe has been put on to the Goodison's property to help start to alleviate some of those problems. And other work has been done at the end of the road, for better or for worse. There are people who have spoken to me even tonight before the meeting, and I think it'd be good to get an update.
Okay. Who would like to give an update, a brief update? Attorney Lane?
About a minute, but
Okay.
you have my correspondence.
Yes.
I reiterated my request that you require the local developer to comply with stormwater management plan. But the key here is, you issued an enforcement order some months ago. There's only one person who's complied, or even attempted to comply seriously with that order, and that's the Morans. Okay, they hired an engineer, they spent a lot of money, they put together a plan, and have it enforce the order against anybody else, okay? Now, the Morans have agreed to do some restoration, but it makes no sense to require them to do some restoration if you're not going to make everybody else comply and put together the stormwater management plan that's going to solve the problem. Otherwise, we're just shoving against the tide. So fortunately, we haven't had a major storm in the last couple of months, so we don't know exactly what the current situation is, and Gunderson has done some work. But nobody's hired the engineer like you required, nobody's put a plan together, and it's frankly very frustrating for those of us who have complied to see that nobody else is doing it. So, again, I think the easy, low-hanging fruit, simply amend the order, require a stormwater management plan, that'll take care of the whole upstream section. And we can, we can ask Mr. Gunderson to put something together as well, but, it's just not fair for the Morans to be, taking the brunt of this, not only to get all the sedimentation on their property, but they also have to do the heavy lifting with regard to trying to remedy it. Just not fair. So we're asking you to, once again, amend the plan or the enforcement order, require the plan, so we can get a permanent solution to the problem, and we won't be here a year from now with the same issues.
Okay, thank you. Brandon?
I'd ask if there's anybody else in the audience who would like to.
Is there anyone else in the audience? Updates? No. No.
It's about time we,
Oh,
yep, here we go.
For the record, Robert Moran, 56 Lakeshore Drive. And thank you, members of the commission, for considering this again. But I, of course, echo Henry's comments. We have complied with the order. As far as I can tell, nobody else nominated an engineer, hired an engineer, or has undertaken a serious restoration plan. We've developed a restoration plan, which is a lot of cost. And this is really water that we didn't we didn't change anything. And there are two property owners on Lakeshore Drive that have changed things significantly. There's lots that have been cleared, and there's a change with the berm that's been constructed. In fact, Brandon, you asked for an update.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So one thing that I can update with is Mr. Cahill has now added a pipe for stormwater roof drains depositing water onto Lakeshore Drive. That's an update. Second update is Mr. Goodison has put in a barn, and he's, it's a permitted construction, and he has now put a driveway in where our plan actually showed was the source of, it was the direction of runoff. The runoff would shed down where his driveway is now. The driveway contains a little bit of an asphalt berm, which means that the water will stay along Lakeshore Drive. So in both cases, unfortunately, I think we're going in the wrong direction. And stormwater, I feel like I'm asking for every resident on Lakeshore Drive. This is going to continue to be a problem. And unless there's stormwater management, which, as I understand, is required by mass regulations, unless there's real stormwater management, we're going to be back here again. And I'm going to continue, frustratingly spending money to solve a problem that I did not create.
okay, thank you. We're saying required stormwater, so are we at that point required?
That's the question, Madam Chair. We just went through this exercise on, was it southeast or southwest Main Street? Where there's a, what is it, 9-lot or 5-lot, I forget how many lot subdivision, but they were only developing 4. Right? And the answer I got from DEP was, you can't enforce it until they start applying for that 5th lot. At which point you can then retroactively go back after the first 4 lots. And if you remember, what happened is we asked the engineer to just take care of those issues now so that the individual homeowners don't get blindsided. Right? In this case, let me bring up, I might as well bring up the map of the recent subdivision. Here we go. Just give me a moment. I bring it up. Bring it up for everybody. Oh, Steve, can I get that? Thank you. Just a moment, I gotta get authorized to screen share. Here we go. Okay. So this is the, on the screen, this is the most recent subdivision. We have, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lots. How many of these lots are actually being developed yet?
I don't know.
I don't think any.
No, there's a foundation and a home under construction with siding on one of the lots. There's another house that's in suit with the developer right next to the house that he built. He has built one on the first lot there, and Lot E has been cleared. Lots C and D have been sold to the same individual, and I don't know the timing of that, but these lots are under development, and they have been cleared.
Okay. And the question is, the runoff that could potentially be coming from them,
Should be calculated by the developer, if I'm understanding that correctly. Isn't that right?
well, all of these lots are greater than 200 feet from the lake and at least 100 feet away from the nearest wetland resource area.
Wait,
I'll let
if
Henry
we,
speak to
I'm
that.
sorry, could he just finish his thought, please? Thank you.
It becomes jurisdictional to the Conservation Commission the moment that first piece of dirt goes into the buffer zone, right? And then the commission has, is transported by water and goes into a jurisdictional area. Then the commission has the full rights and privileges to go after them. I don't know that we've crossed that threshold yet.
I remind the commission that our consultant was here in July with a letter that stated, actually, he testified on record that there was an estimate between 5 and 10 yards of material that have been deposited into Manchog, and they're still there.
Right, but did that come from the road itself?
Of course it did.
And this is where the legal, the legal fine lines start to happen, where maybe the water came from these lots and the sediment came from the road, but then who is actually responsible and who does the Conservation Commission go after? You go after the owner of the road? Who is the owner of the road? Is it still a single piece of property, or the landowner is on either side responsible to the middle of the road? What do we have going on here that can create that nexus for the Conservation Commission to actually have the legal authority to go after someone?
Well, the testimony by Scott, the engineer, was that water coming off of these 5 lots, perhaps not all of them, but is now running onto the road, running down the road, and contributing to the water going into the lake at that point. So, you hit it. You've got the 5 lots. You've got, even though they're outside the jurisdictional area, once that water hits the lake, now you've got jurisdiction. That's what the rules say.
And the thing is, it's not the water, it's the sediment.
Well, the sediment, I'm sorry, the sediment.
Right.
But it's the water that carries the sediment. The sediment doesn't move on its own.
And those owners
And
are...
I'm sorry, miss, sorry.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Not you.
No.
Sorry, the gentleman in front.
You're welcome.
So backing up one moment, so the roadway in this portion is owned by the association,
No,
is that correct?
no.
No? Where does the association own?
They own part of it, but part of it's owned by Mr. Gunderson, part of it's owned by the Morans. All the abutters own the road. It's the private way.
How about the portion of the road that's the frontage for these 5 lots?
Well, to the extent that Mr. Cahill still owns them, he owns to the center of the road.
He owns to the center of the road, or he owns the whole road?
Well, typically, the abutters each own to the center. So he owns on both sides of the road, he owns the whole road.
Do I have my association in here? The homeowners association, that copy?
I'm not sure.
Remember the document?
I
Do you
remember
have a
that.
folder?
I might have it here.
Okay. I thought that the association had owned these portions because
I got it.
maintenance. Okay, so if we can zoom in, I thought that Yeah, there it is. A, B, C, D,
Where?
E.
Yeah, right here.
Yes.
Yeah. Sharon Glenn, the Worcester for title.
So,
Well, let's work this out. Who's
Yeah.
responsible? Based on this homeowners association document.
Well, I suspect, let's see. Vision isn't as good as it might be.
and this is what I read 3 meetings ago, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then the portion of our local bylaw.
Yeah, I think there's a clause in there that states that as long as Mr. Cahill owns any of the lots, which he certainly still does, he owns A and E, he is the sole trustee of the homeowner association. So,
Okay, he owns A and E?
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so,
But in any event, I remain concerned. I did nothing,
Yeah.
and this material went into the lake over my property. I'm now
Right.
looking to the commission to enforce, to require the properties that created this issue to deal with it. And they're not here.
right, and I think I had suggested speaking with the road commissioners. Did you go there? Because our
I did
general
not.
bylaw requires them for maintenance,
Requires
Right.
them.
for the owner to have maintenance. So we have that also, or no?
It's on maintenance.
Yeah, so that was the other suggestion that I had.
I mean, I did talk to John Furno,
Yep.
but a general conversation, not specific to, I mean, I asked him if he was comfortable getting him a piece of equipment down there, and he said he was.
For highway or for fire?
Fire.
Okay, so still fire is saying it's passable.
Yeah, I'm not sure the plows will be happy with the rocks that have been exposed due to the sediment being transported into the lake, because they may damage some plows out there now.
Okay. Board, any comments, questions?
The agreement that they have for the road, is that association, whoever owns the land has a portion they have to kick in on that, or is that how that's written?
For maintenance?
So wouldn't it go back to the people that have land there to get together and find a solution to this?
Yes. The association would have to enforce their rules for maintenance. I'm not quite sure, I'm following Brandon, I'm not quite sure that this is the place where the liability lies. I'm still not sure. You've talked to DEP and you've talked to town council, right?
I talked to DEP about the
5
you have
lot.
to have 5 lots for these stormwater standards and regulations to kick in. Right? And so far, just the subdivision of land alone does not trigger that. You actually have to have so many lots being developed, right? And then the commission has the ability to enforce, but because these lots are also in non-jurisdictional areas, there has to be a nexus between sediment coming from these lots down the hill and into the buffer zone of Manchog Pond first. So this is what they say down in Fall River, a super scaldine. So,
I think if you're going to use that logic, you have to withdraw your enforcement order because you can't prove where any particular bit of sediment came from. It obviously came, common sense suggests, and you base your order on the fact that water running down that road created the sedimentation. If that's not the case, why are we here? You can't have it both ways. You can't issue an enforcement order and then say, well, we don't know where this is coming from.
well, I do think I know where, it's definitely coming further down the road between Mr. Goodison and Mr. Moran, I'm not sure that it's coming from these lots A through E.
Shockingly enough, there wasn't a problem until A through E were being developed. So common sense suggests there must be a causal
Well-
relationship there.
Correlation doesn't necessarily mean causation, as we say.
No, but
And but at the same time, or about the same time, Mr. Goodison created a berm on his side of the road, which I think created a sluiceway.
entirely possible.
Yeah, and it was good to hear that Mr. Goodison has done some work to help to alleviate it, and I have heard some positive feedback on that, but I've also heard some negative feedback on a second driveway that has been recently constructed, which I have to check out, which I just found out about today.
It was just paved last week.
You're right, so I need to check that out as well, whether or not it's in jurisdictional area, whether or not it was permitted before, because this is something, remember, I just came on board in August, so I'm playing some major catch-up. So at the moment, I'd like some time to be able to review that and figure out what's going on, because we just added yet another layer of complexity to an already complex situation.
Where's the
I have
location?
to see how many pieces of pie we have left. I know Janine had
Hi.
it for breakfast and after lunch.
We just added another piece of complexity.
Somebody's planning for Thanksgiving, apparently.
Good thing that was only what they were talking about.
I expect we're all going to get invited.
There won't be any pie left. Okay, so let's, where is the location of the new driveway
I don't
that was
even know.
paved?
I don't even know.
It's exactly where the plan provided at the, I think it was in August, at the August meeting, that showed the top of berm in the red line and the direction of flow in the blue line.
Oh, that was in this
Yeah.
letter.
Yeah,
So
so,
let me go to that.
okay.
Is that it? There's a red line, there's a blue line.
It is, yeah.
Okay,
So,
yeah, go ahead.
if I may, and bear with me, I had a retina reattached surgery last month.
Oh, no.
So, can you go to the left? Is there a little bit further?
You bet.
Anything over there? Yeah, yeah, so that would be where the driveway is now. Can you come
Go
down
up.
a little bit? Yeah.
Go like up here?
Yeah, so the driveway is here now, it's been asphalted. And that was, you see the red line, that was where the top of the berm was.
Right.
So it's going to, actually, I thought there was another that showed much of it shed. I'm sorry, it's over here.
Yeah, that's your
Yeah,
driveway.
that's Goodison's original driveway. This is the one I'm talking about. So what's happened is, he's now put an asphalt berm, for lack of a better word, at the top of that driveway, which will continue to collect water coming from here. In other words, water came from Lake Shore and shed down that driveway until that berm was added, which now will continue to run down Lake Shore Drive. Ultimately,
Making the situation worse.
yeah. And that's incredibly unfortunate. He is a good neighbor, he's a good man, I like him, but we're at odds on that.
Okay, and then we have in our packet from Friday, the 10th, a pipe, 2 of them.
Yep. I think,
He's installed these also.
yeah, so the location, rough location of those would be about here, and I think he's intercepted that drainage,
Into a rain garden.
yeah, on the other side of his driveway. And then roughly, maybe about here is the second one. So at the last meeting, I think the talk was that he had agreed to experiment and see if this would solve the problem. And honestly, we haven't had a rainstorm sufficient to check that. We did have one that was close, but this culvert was not in place at that time, so it wouldn't be fair or effective analysis.
Okay.
But during that storm, water did go right by and under the fence line and headed towards the lake.
Okay, so it stopped before it hit your property?
No,
No.
yeah. kept going.
Okay. So where was the path?
Went here,
Yep.
and this is a sort of a parking space area. There's a fence here, which was the original spot where the water went over, and it just kind of filled up where this, there's a hay bales and some straw wattles right there, and it just kind of seeped through there. I mean, the hay bales and straw wattles helped and slowed it, but
Did you have any sediment running into your yard when that happened?
I couldn't say. honestly.
Okay, okay. Nothing noticeable
No, nothing like the.
before? Yeah, okay. Okay. All right,
So
well,
I can also give a bit of an update that we've contacted multiple landscape and excavation companies, and they're uncomfortable undertaking anything until, this water is solved. In fact, one of them suggested maybe putting a berm in along our property line, so that if the water does come, it'll just run,
continue on.
it'll run back onto Goodison's. And again, I don't know that that's, in the interest of the commission or the interest of the lake, but that I may have no choice.
Okay. All right, well, we just got this correspondence November 15th, so we'll let Brandon take a look, make some phone calls.
Yep.
See what we can do.
Yeah.
So,
I gotta get down there again.
yeah.
Yep.
You know, I had a conversation with town council, like, probably going on a month and a half, 2 months ago. Regarding, how much of the lead does the Conservation Commission have to take on this? And their opinion was, well, it's the commission's job to try to figure out who may be responsible. And it's the commission's job to enforce. But it's the people who get that enforcement order to start proceeding with the work and the responsibility of starting to, get things resolved. And, it's a matter of who's the chief going to be. Sometimes that's the big problem, is that it is, I don't know, I can't even say it's not even politically correct anymore, but who's the chiefs and who's the Indians, right? I can't say that.
No.
I'll get canceled.
No.
So somebody has to take charge, and, who's going to step forward and do that?
Yeah, but thank you for the update. We've got to get moving on, but Brandon
No,
will
I've
give us.
Taking a lot of your time, and I
Yeah,
appreciate you hearing me
yeah,
out.
thank you. Thanks for coming in, and we'll just see what we can do to have a permanent fix. Okay, 69 Woodland Road discussion. Is anyone here on behalf of that? Come on to the table.
Evening, Madam Chairman, board members, and general public. My name's David Sadowski. I'm the principal of DJ and Associates. I'm the contractor's engineer at the site.
Okay.
It appears to me what's happened here is there was a plan that was approved by the Board of Health for a septic system with a side entry on the right driveway and garage. And there was a plan approved by your commission that showed the driveway coming in on the left and going straight into a garage. Since we've become aware of it, we've gone out and we've done an as-built of the existing, there's only a footing on the property now. The forms could be changed so that we'd be able to, yes, the forms could be changed so that we'd be able to do a straight-in, we'd be able to do a garage that would go straight in. I submitted some plans, 8.5 by 11, with a stamped copy of the proposed plot plan. You can see the wetland flag area, you can see the 100-foot buffer zone, and you can see a smaller type of a foundation that would be going on the property. So the house that we would be constructing on this site would be less invasive to the buffer zone. Almost all of the foundation would be outside the 100-foot buffer, and we would come in on the left-hand side, like the plan that was approved by this commission.
Okay, so if backing up, this was an amended order, correct? So
Correct.
let's go through the history. So I believe the owner or the contractor was here, and he brought in the plan, if I'm not mistaken. Do you know the history? And we approved the plan, and both Steve and I, Steve was here, said, make sure the plan is this plan date. And that's what I said probably 5 times. Do you recall, Mark? The gentleman that came here, and he was under the impression he could use the old plan. It was, I think we extended the order of conditions at that point of the old plan, because he had the new plan. I mean, he had the old plan. So, Brandon, I guess my question is, this layout is what was amended to be a new plan. This was the old one.
Okay. Now, is this one up here the amended plan?
So,
Let me get a
It's-
date on it. The date on it is,
no, this is the,
is that the original?
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
so Let me continue my search here. Okay, so. Yeah.
So we've had an original plan,
Yeah.
an amended plan,
Yep.
and now you're saying a construction plan, which is
I-
different from the amended plan.
But I think it's the same footprint as the original order of conditions that we issued. So they came in for an amended order of conditions, and then we extended the amended order of conditions. Is that correct?
Yes, that's
Yes.
correct. I was not on board at that point, but
Right.
yes, that's correct.
Yes.
This is a copy of the layout.
That you just passed out.
I just
Oh,
passed out.
so it's in our-
The existing erosion control that's on site, the wetland flags in the back, and the 100-foot buffer that would be at the very backside of this downsized plan. The other plan extended more into the buffer. The deck was further back. There were stairs that went further back. The driveway's in the same location coming out, and the garage is in the same location coming out. It'll be a smaller size house. The septic system's in the same spot, and that area to be restored that the commission wanted is still shown on the plan, and that's going to be left to go back to natural.
So I'm not 100% sure of what activities already occurred, but the blue and pink plan, so the amended plan was the larger, more square home,
Correct.
and then the pink was the smaller home, which is not, still not the same. So now we have a third layout. Is that?
That's
Did I
correct.
say that? So we have a third rendition where we have an old order and then an amended order extended.
I think this is the one that you're looking at right now.
Right.
Yes.
So what you have there is the one that's, I guess, up in this area here was the one that went with the septic plan, the original. Then there was an amended plan here to show this huge, you can see how much of it's sticking past the 100-foot. Ours is going to be in the same area, the garage in the same area, only we're going to be a smaller size house.
Okay, I think I got all three of them side by
Yes.
each here.
So,
Okay, so, sorry,
yep, no, you can go.
here's the original.
Yep.
Okay. Here's the amended,
Yeah,
and here's the one that's now being proposed.
correct.
Correct.
Okay, so this one here, this is the 100-foot buffer zone line right here.
Yes,
So this one here shows the house and the deck actually into the buffer zone. And this one shows only really the deck in the buffer zone.
correct.
So-
There's a small tiny corner right where the Z is. of
So
the
this
foundation.
tells me it looks like a much smaller house.
Correct,
Driveway's in about the same spot.
correct.
It does, are you expanding the erosion control / limited work line at all? to
No.
go further in the back, so that's staying exactly the same?
That's correct.
Well, then it looks to me like impact will actually be slightly reduced as part of the current plan. Now, the question is, did the commission feel that the changes are so significant that yet another amendment is required, or can this be approved as a minor field change?
Right. So we just need to have all the i's dotted on this specific project especially.
Okay.
So the erosion controls were not inspected before. Is there a DEP sign out there? Are the plans on site?
There are plans on site and they're in the contractor's machine. I don't know if there's a DEP sign there or not. I know I did an as-built of the footing that was out there.
So
And I did actually locate the erosion controls that were there. I'm not even sure.
before you,
I don't even know who installed them.
right, so every single step of the way of this project has not been followed. And I requested the DEP sign 2.5 weeks ago, maybe, whenever it was brought to somebody's attention that the.
This is the contractor.
You were here in front of us, sir?
No, I wasn't. I think I came here
Yes.
on a meeting. I believe it was back in May.
Yep, and name and address, please.
Eliza Silva.
Yes. So I had requested that you make sure that you use the correct plan, and you said yes many times. So when you came in for the extension of the order,
Of condition.
I brought it to your attention, you had the wrong plan. So now this isn't even, either plan is not even the right plan. So now we've modified it. We've had no DEP sign on site, no plans on site, no inspections. So how do I know that this erosion control is actually, I mean, the scales are different, I believe.
My drawing is to scale.
Yeah.
1 to 40 on the current drawing, and on the previous drawing, we've got, where is it?
1 to
1 to 20 on that drawing, and the original is
So
probably
just-
also 1 to 20, yes.
let me just take a peek at the distance.
The septic system's at 1 to 20, and the conservation plan is a layover of the septic plan. They're both 2436. Mine's only an 8.5 by 11.
Yeah, no scale bar on here. So I'm just concerned, where's the erosion control on the backside?
There's
Because,
a line up with the original.
right, so this is 100. And this should be,
Hold on. I got you covered.
oh, thank you.
That was close to me.
Did you put the erosion
It's
control?
inside the
Was there
50-foot buffer, and it's like it's about 40 feet on the 8.5 by 11 plan, so I think that's probably pretty close.
Yeah, it's probably like another 10 feet in, right? So it looks to me like that original erosion control plan is something like 40 feet away from the,
Yes, yeah,
you agree?
yes, I agree.
So the question is, Madam Chair, on that erosion control, how far do you have?
It's about 65,
Really? Based on what,
Yeah.
40 scale?
yeah. So, well, you can see
65 from the 100-foot buffer or 65 from the wetland flag?
from the 100-foot buffer. So,
Well, when Mr. Silver bought the lot, the erosion control was already in.
This shows the erosion control stopping before it reaches the area to return to natural, and the proposed plan shows it continuing around the corner and coming up along that property boundary. So that would need to be completely installed.
and was there a slurry pit? Was there erosion around it? What happened with the well when it was drilled? Was there material everywhere?
What? No.
Okay, there was a slurry pit with erosion controls?
Yeah.
Through the chair. Could we have a site visit? Or have Brandon look at it, or I don't know what your protocol is.
Well, the issue is also, we have plantings proposed here. Those aren't shown on the plan. All the notes, the conditions that were placed on it, I mean, where's the order of conditions? Have you read it? I mean, you're the owner, you came here, nothing was followed, like inspections for erosion control, DEP sign on the site, plans on the site, order of conditions on the site.
Madam Chair, if I
Yes.
could,
Yep.
this is only something put together for the building department and to show the location of what's on the property. They're still working off the plan that is part of the order conditions. This is just a downsize location of what the house is going to come out to be, look like now, but as far as that 2436 that goes with the order, that is the working plan. That's the plan that was approved by the commission. Only a downsized, scaled house on it.
Right, we need to have a cohesive file system so that we know what happened here. So that when we get the as-built,
If J.D. Markadon
Yeah.
had actually done the septic system or changed the septic system plan at the Board of Health, because the installer's copy that was issued to us to install the septic system and do the work was the original plan. They still hadn't even submitted the conservation changes they made to the Board of Health, even for their review.
yeah, that's,
So when the
doesn't-
septic system, when the septic system installer pulled it, he was told to direct the driveway over there and put the septic system in up there. And that's the plan that's at Site 2 now. That was never changed by Markadon.
yeah, but that's,
So you're saying is the contractor did it of their own accord?
The contractor went in to pull a license to work on the septic system as well as the foundation. When he did, he was given an installer's copy. The installer's copy clearly is the first plan that was approved by this commission. They never went with the newer plan and even made reference to the Board of Health.
yeah.
That's where a lot of this confusion came
Construction
from.
meetings is so necessary.
Well, there were no changes made to the septic system from the approved,
Well, there was a connection to the house that was different. There was a tank placement that was different,
okay. Yeah.
and the driveway location is
It's a-
different.
Yeah, it absolutely could have been avoided because, I mean, you were just here in May,
Right.
and you do recall me telling you. You can watch the video too. I said it many times because I was concerned about the confusion on the site. So, board, Eric? Nothing? Joe?
Yeah, I probably would help take a look at the site, go out there.
Okay. Mike?
See, because I'm confused as to what's done and what's not done at this point. I
Right.
think it would be to our benefit to go out and look at it.
Mike? Mark?
I'm fine with a site visit. I think that would be worthwhile, and I also think that, we need to get a clear plan as to what is going to be built or what's proposed and the changes, a list of the changes to the approved plan.
Okay, so time is of the essence, right? So you've got the footings in and everything stopped at this point.
Correct. There's actually forms
So
sitting on site.
we probably should make a decision even before the site visit because we know what's there at this point. We know that there's the wrong septic. Do we have, so the house is 75.8. The amended was not seeing it on here.
Well, Madam Chair, it sounds to me like the Sadowski plan for building is going to cut it. And what they need to do is they need to basically do an as-built and show what they want to do on top of that on a Marquidont plan. So the commission, and not only that, but a letter to go along with it that outlines all the deviations so far and an explanation of what they want to do in the future on a new Marquidont plan that shows everything that it's supposed to show in accordance with the already amended order of conditions. So the commission can make a more informed decision as whether or not it needs yet another amendment or even a new NOI because we're getting so far away. Or alternatively, if you're okay with it as is.
Right, so you don't think we have enough information to determine that?
That's what I'm hearing tonight.
Through the chair. I think if you look at this plan, it's less in the buffer, which is really your regulation area, than this monstrosity that was going to be constructed here. It was going to be twice the size, footprint size. It was going to take up twice the area for recharge. Ours is a downsized model of it. The only thing that's in the buffer is the deck. Before you had half the house in the buffer zone. And the existing erosion is at least 60 feet behind where our work is. And that was what was on the site already. Their house extended at least 20 feet into the buffer. Can't you see that?
Absolutely, I can. However,
Okay.
the commission still has every right.
Oh, I know they do. I'm sorry,
require-
through the
so
chair.
I'm just-
I know you
I'm
do.
just-
I'm just trying to
I'm just
comment
putting it
that I think with an as-built with a stamp on it, compared to the things that Marquidon's been giving you, shows exactly what's going to go on with the house, how it's going to connect into the septic, how far it is off the boundaries, where the proposed driveway's going, where the garage is going, what we're going to build.
Well, so the minor modification to an order of conditions is a pretty high threshold to just be able to have permission to do something totally different. So I think, if we have a scope of work that's going to be, this is what you're doing, we can put this in the file and be able to look back and say, oh, this is what we approved. But I think that we should talk about if there's going to be an amended order of conditions required or a brand-new NOI required versus being approved for a minor modification on the 18th.
Because this is less, less wetlands work, less buffer work, I'm okay with an amended order of conditions or
Minor
a
modification.
minor modification. Thank you. Yeah. But I just want us to have a clear, list of the work, of the changes, so that we have it in our files, so that we can go back to it again. This is the third time around, so I don't want there to be more mistakes and, come back a fourth time on this thing. I think we just want a clear plan and a list of the changes as
Okay.
Brandon suggested.
Would the board be agreeable to having, once Brandon gets all the information?
And maybe a site visit. 'cause
And a site
I need to
visit?
familiarize myself with the property too, because this is another one that I'm inheriting.
Right, so could we fashion a motion to allow Brandon, once a plan, a sufficient plan and a sufficient narrative is submitted along with a site visit, that they can proceed and have this commission consider as a minor modification?
Madam Chair, when you say plan, you're saying something better than not necessarily better, but
More
More
detail.
detailed.
More detailed,
more detailed than the Sadowski plan?
yes. I'd like to see distances and anything else that's different than what was on the amended. So if I just say sufficient,
Sufficiently detailed to allow the commission enough information to make a informed decision. Right?
Right.
And I think we've
would
already
like to have
addressed
some
all.
distances Exactly. I mean, this shows, this is each of the corners of the house.
Does it necessarily have to be a Marquidont plan, or it could be a modified Sadowski plan?
Modified Sadowski plan.
Okay.
And
That would-
also, I want to see everything that was agreed upon for special conditions, including the plantings, and what is that section there? Oh, the disturbed area, the area to return to natural. So we pretty much need to take everything that was required on your active amended order of conditions and either write it or put it on the plan.
Okay.
Following?
I am.
Okay. Because there were plantings required, there were,
Does the commission have a copy of the Macrodon plan that I can have?
It can be emailed to you,
Great.
okay? And I have my card for both of you guys. Please stay in touch.
Sure, I'll give you one too.
okay, so I'm gonna do a formal motion. Anybody want to
Yep.
try it? To consider this plan that's submitted for 69 Woodland Road as a minor modification, as long as the previously discussed conditions are met and the information
Thank you,
is
sir.
provided to our consultant.
So moved.
Motion made by Mark,
Second,
second by Joe. All those in favor?
Barrett, second.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike?
Thank you.
Mike? Aye.
Mike Rocco.
Mark?
Much of mine.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you very much for
And
your time.
DEP sign, when is it going to be installed?
Can you put one up tomorrow?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're
If
welcome.
you get those things together, we'll schedule a site visit right away. Yeah.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Douglas Camp meeting, discussion, tree cleanup, possible votes. Is anyone here on behalf?
Yes, ma'am.
Come on over. Name and address, please.
Dave Blaney, Douglas Camp Meeting, 26 Southwest Main Street.
Okay. You still doing the trees?
Always, they keep growing.
Okay. You want to tell us a little bit about the project?
Yes, and I had, just today sent Jen additional photos. She said you guys had some photos
I do have some.
on file.
Right up here. This
Okay.
is what we have in our system so far.
Very good.
These were taken by Steve Zisk.
Sent to him, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sent those to him back in the day. So I do have some more too. If there was a way to pass them to you, I'd be glad to.
At this point, it's
Okay.
a little too complicated.
Sure. So, literally, they keep growing. Some weeks ago, one of our association members said he has a tree feller who might, for exchange for the trees, especially ones endangering our buildings, hopefully would do it for a low cost or maybe no cost. And I said, well, I need to get Douglas Association approval from our board, as well as I want to talk to Conservation. So I sent an email to Steve Zisk, not knowing he had just left, to say, can you just kind of give me some advice if this thing were to come together, what's really involved, so that, all the pieces are cooperating.
Okay, so what are you here tonight?
Yeah,
Request.
so what would be the way forward for us to take down several large trees, particularly within conservation jurisdiction? And if, I don't know, sir, if you're familiar with our area, but there's a brook that goes right through, so the 200 feet on both sides, encompasses a large part of our active area.
Have you reached out to the tree warden yet?
I wasn't familiar with the tree warden.
Okay. Are there any dead or dying trees?
Some.
Okay. So we typically allow the dead or dying or the imminent threats, no stumping.
Do you usually require a certified arborist letter to go along with that?
Not require it, but the tree warden does relay back his opinion.
Does the tree warden really go off the side of the roads?
maybe not. No,
They usually.
no, yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Not going deep into property.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking that. Yeah, I mean, is your person an arborist?
He's a tree feller with, equipment and knows how to do it.
Probably,
I don't,
probably.
yeah, I haven't met him.
Okay. How many trees are you thinking?
Whatever's kind of approvable from here, approval could be granted from here. It could be a couple dozen if allowed. There's several dozen that endanger our buildings because it's been decades and decades since
Okay.
they were thinned.
So,
Excuse me if I may say,
Yep.
when Steve was first out there in 2019, when I first came on board out there, he even looked up and he said he wasn't sure he was comfortable even walking under them. So
but they're still there.
they are, because I want to make sure I'm in harmony with, the
Right.
regulations here.
Okay. So, RDA board? So you could do a request for determination of applicability. So we need a plan. You need to mark all the trees that you want to take down in the field.
Yeah.
And then we'll go for a site walk.
Okay,
So if you can let Jen know when they're marked, and then take the assessor's map or a plan that you
I
have.
actually have conservation map with,
Okay.
with your
Yep.
boundaries on there.
Good. And then they need to be marked.
Okay, good.
And I would suggest a request for a determination of applicability. An RDA. I think you guys have gotten one previously.
My folks who were going to do it, they kind of gave up when it got into that. We tried to do something. I sent in a plan for some trees around one of our
Yeah.
buildings in the past.
Yeah.
But when there was the additional paperwork,
RDA is actually pretty simple.
is it?
Yeah, it's the most simple of all the applications.
Okay,
And here's my card.
great.
Yeah.
I can come for it.
You need some, little bit of guidance. I can't do it for you, but if you need guidance, I can help.
The tree warden, how do I track down?
I think he's he's not gonna be applicable.
Yeah, they only go so many feet off the road.
Yeah.
Okay,
Still looking for a letter from an arborist to say that the trees are in imminent danger of life and/or property.
Well, yeah, this is suggested. I'm sure your tree removal person
With no one.
would know one,
Yeah.
if they're
Okay.
not. Yeah,
okay, very good.
yeah.
All set?
Okay, yes, good luck. Yeah, please reach out to Brandon. so
Gladly. Thanks,
He'll
Bob.
guide you through, and you can get on the December 18th meeting.
Okay,
Okay?
good.
All right, thank you. Request for a certificate of compliance, 49 Woodland Road. Is someone here on behalf of that? Oh, here we go again.
Good evening. Hello, how are you?
Hello, good, how are you?
Good.
Name and address, please.
Sure. Dave Markradot from JD Markradot Associates from Hopkinton. John Gordon, 49 Woodland Road, owner.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Talking about this.
Okay,
So kind of a follow-up from last month on a COC request for 49.
yep, and we have our written statement and
Yep.
photos.
Yep.
I have some recent photos
And-
that I can go through. if you want.
Okay,
As-
you've
as-
visited the site
I have.
and everything
This
is,
is more or less where we start, where I'm now up to date.
okay, and stabilized.
It's pretty well stabilized, yes.
Okay,
The lawn's in pretty good shape. But I'd like to go through some pictures because there's a spot or two I think you should look at.
okay,
Okay?
yep.
All right. I think it's maybe best to have Mr. Mark Bedant talk, and maybe I can scroll through the pictures at the same time.
Sure, sure.
Okay,
I use my little drawing if I could. Is that,
Sure.
can you see that?
probably not, no, that's okay.
So Woodland Road's at the bottom.
Yeah,
Sorry. Wetlands are highlighted in the green tint here. Buffer zone is here. House, septic, well, driveway, and then limit of work is right along here. Septic, I'm sorry, house and septic are exactly where they were per design. Well is about a foot different, but outside the buffer zone.
okay,
All good. Driveway is different. The driveway at the beginning, down by the shared driveway, is 10 feet closer to the wetland. And up at the top, it's further away by 7 feet from the wetland.
Okay.
Okay, so the red on the drawing is proposed, and black and white is the COC as built.
Okay.
Okay. So the driveways is a small difference from before. On the left-hand side of the proposed driveway, we had 4 check dams that were to be put in. Instead of putting the check dams in, they did a wash stone and pea stone apron, which is highlighted here in the brown along this left. The check dam was to be at the left edge, 4 spots between, probably 2 before the gate and 2 after the gate on the left-hand side. So now we have a stone and pea stone apron on the left side instead of that. Okay?
Okay, has there been any erosion occurring?
No.
No.
Okay.
Actually, once we
Okay.
put that in, before we put that in, a lot of this wash was coming across the driveway. That's why we went and dropped all of that in there, and now there's absolutely nothing. So
Okay.
it's really clean now, and I was getting concerned because the neighbor has a motorcycle, and going across sand is not a good thing.
No. Okay.
I haven't had to brush it out for months now.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Okay, so that was a minor plan change that you
Yep.
listed. Okay, sorry, continue.
So we had, as part of Mary Grace's item, a line of rocks along the right-hand side of the driveway. And they were there, and then they got filled in, so they're no longer visible.
Okay.
We have rocks on the left-hand side, like an even spacing between the shared driveway and the gate. We have we were supposed to have a little drop area of kind of a V-notch dropped area for drainage. That got changed, and it's kind of a more of a square rectangular shape, which seems to be working quite well.
That this area right here?
That's exactly right, yep.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so,
So those rocks are different. We had that all graded out. John put some kind of a rock slope there, and then that wash stone you see there is the discharge point from the foundation drain and underground swale. So you can see it's pretty well contained.
that's the outlet right there.
Okay.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
And then we, for the most part, in a couple locations, our limit of work constructed was not to the limit. And then a couple locations, it went over the limit. So up by the house, our limit of work is closer to the house and 17 feet further away from the wetland than what was approved. Down at near the right front corner of the house and porch, limit of work is 6 feet closer to the house, further away from the wetland. And then as we get down towards flags, towards the middle of the driveway, where we have an item of 2 feet and 4 feet that were closer to the wetland than what was approved. And then you can see we have various silt fences still there and wattles still there.
Okay. Is that it? Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. So the rock, line of rocks was supposed to be, an anti-creep
Yep.
deterrent. So what do we have now? It's just buried rocks?
Buried rocks. You can see them at the beginning, but as you get...
Keystone?
Yep, we got pea stone apron at the top beyond the gate. And then in front of the house, we don't have anything. They're just buried.
They're just about halfway sticking out of the ground rather than all the way.
Okay.
I can add to it if I need to.
Yeah, we had proposed that because the disturbance was pretty close. Towards the house, though, we're a lot farther away. 51, oh no, nope.
Yeah,
30.
the house to wetland and porch is 51, right?
Right, and the terrain is such that no one's mowing over there, or?
No. I can mow about 10, maybe 15 max feet off the porch. Then there's like a line of, it's like a collapsed old New England rock wall
Right, yeah, yeah,
into that area.
okay.
And you just can't mow in there. Yeah, there it is. You can see on the other side of that line of rocks, you just cannot mow in there. So I just leave that alone.
Okay, that's great. Brandon?
You know, this was more of a fact-finding mission for me because, again, this is one I've inherited. So I thought I'd try to do as good a job with the pictures, and I've done this before. You know, if somebody comes in with a presentation, I try to follow along with the pictures so the commission can see. So this is completely a subjective exercise, so I leave to your decision whether or not you're comfortable with it. And no matter what, before you issue the certificate of compliance, I would have them take out the silt fence.
So we've gone back and forth on remove it, not remove it. If no one's been
I think
there.
it's stable enough.
And no one's been there, you
Yeah,
know?
I've seen silt fence buried, it lasts forever.
Okay, okay. So before they pick it up, before you release it? to
Before,
them?
before they release it, have them,
Okay.
remove the silt fence so we know it's not gonna be stuck there buried forever.
Oh, I don't want it there.
Yeah, but with homeowners, it's not a problem. You know, more
Yeah.
like commercial construction sites, it is.
Okay. Commission, anybody? Comments, questions?
I'm good with that.
No comment.
Mark? Any questions? Mark? Entertain a motion to issue the certificate of compliance
So moved.
with the condition that the silt fence be removed before it's released.
Second.
Motion made by Joe,
Second.
second by Mike. All those in favor?
Just provide pictures that it's been done?
Yeah, just
Perfect.
tell them it's done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mangimani.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in, and glad we got it done.
Awesome.
Thank you, Brandon. Okay, 31 North Street, possible violation. Come on over. Name and address, please.
Tanya Marcano, 31 North Street.
Okay, what's happening?
So, because I had ended up doing the paving with the recycled asphalt.
Yep, regrind?
Yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, grass grew all over it. Okay.
Okay,
So what I did now is I bought loads of stone because I don't want grass.
okay,
And I was actually gonna take that out because I kick it and it comes right off. So I can just sweep it.
okay. The
It's a very
stone?
thin layer.
Yep,
He never got to finish it.
okay,
So I'm just gonna sweep it out. But this is what I started doing actually.
okay. So backing up one moment. So the activity, so I think you had applied for an RDA, right? Was it you or was a previous owner?
No,
I got it
I'm
right
not
here.
sure.
Okay.
I got it right here.
So we had, because you're in the aquifer, right?
It was to Ms. McConnell.
Yes.
Okay. So we had voted a positive determination of applicability, saying you needed to file a notice of intent for the work that you wanted to do. Do you remember that?
I did, and I
Okay,
paid for that.
okay, but you did a RDA.
I'm confused, guys.
Okay.
I don't really know much about it.
That's all right.
But I was calling Steve and he wasn't responding, so I came here a few times, left messages. I don't have the guidance.
Okay.
So I just went and got stone, put it over it, because there's grass already under it, so.
Okay, so that's the only thing that you've done on the site?
That's it. I've
The
never
stone.
touched it. It was unfinished, and the guy, he took off on me. I haven't heard from him, so I got ripped off. I told him he didn't do enough layers because people just walk all over it and it's all over the place.
Okay,
So,
all right. Could I see the original request? I'm just gonna refresh my memory on this.
RDA on top, determination on the bottom.
Okay.
And would you like me to bring that up on screen?
Yes, please.
Okay.
The location. So the activities that you did were just the
the first time and that's it. I never touched it again.
expand the driveway to the right of the garage, add driveway to the left of house.
Yeah.
Did you do that?
That was already done. That's why I got brought in.
Okay. No, this is from,
I did 2 driveways, one on the right side and one on the left side.
so March 10th, 2022, you had come in to request a determination to expand the driveway to the right of the garage, add the driveway to the left of the house, add pavement in front of the house? Did you add pavement?
No, I haven't done anything.
No?
And add fencing in front of the house and backyard.
So you've expanded the driveway.
When I did that, it was because it was already done. When I did this request, it was because Steve.
Oh, was it after the fact?
It was after the fact because he came and stopped the project in the middle of it.
Okay.
So that's what happened. The driveway was already done. I haven't done anything, even before I filed this, the driveways were already paved. But since he showed up and stopped it in the middle of it, the guy took off. I haven't heard from the guy because I called him to tell him that there's not enough layers because you can just kick the stuff off and it's full of grass. So,
Okay. So back to what you did from like March 2022 to today, the activities. It was expanded the driveway. So before Steve stopped you. So there was expansion of the driveway
right.
on the right
On the
side of the
left
house.
and- yes.
And the right. Add pavement in front of the house.
I didn't get to that part.
No pavement.
No.
But was it gravel?
I have stone, yes. It wasn't, not the recycled asphalt. The recycled asphalt was the 2 spots only for the driveway.
Add fencing in front of the house and the backyard.
Yeah, I haven't done none of that. I haven't done anything ever since.
Okay.
So, Ms. McCon, may I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
So, Ms. Scott, on this picture up here on the screen, so you're saying the work you did is on this right side here?
And where the stone is on this side, I just covered all the grass because grass grew right through it. But I left one uncovered so everyone can see it.
And all the stone here on the left side?
Yes, the long way.
The long way down here?
Yes.
Okay, so let me see. Over here,
Yes.
right in that area.
Yes, but there's grass all under that. It grew, tremendously. It was a waste of money. So I left one uncovered so you guys can see all the grass. And because this one is closer to my house, I needed to do the grass because the ants and all, I want to just keep the grass away.
Could you zoom in a little bit closer for me? Because I've got the light in the way.
So now it's all
Thank
stone.
you. Okay, so what kind of stone is that?
Looks like limestone.
Yes, limestone. It's, is it not grinded,
Crushed.
yes, crushed.
Okay. And you knew that you were in the aquifer, right? You're within 200 feet from the river?
I know there's a river, but I didn't know that, I don't really know like the rules and stuff.
Okay.
So I'm new to all of this.
Okay. Well, you're gonna get,
I'm a city girl.
okay. All right. So, Just trying to figure out, so were you continuously doing activity there?
Never. I stopped that day that Kenneth Frazier said stop.
Yeah.
It stopped that day.
Okay,
And ever since then, since the grass grew, I just did one side and left the other one so you guys can see all the grass. So there's one side covered and one is not covered. I left one uncovered so that all the grass can be seen.
okay.
So it's, that material, I don't, I was told that he didn't finish it. The only reason is grass growing all everywhere is because he only did that one layer and he never actually flattened it and did another layer on top. That's what I was told that he was supposed to do.
Okay, and what was existing before you started to do the work?
Grass.
Okay.
That's why the grass is growing right through again.
31 North. Okay. Commission, any questions right now? Okay, so you understand that the work that you did is not allowed without a permit? Do you understand that?
Yeah, the guy that did it, he didn't pull a permit. It's, how am I supposed to know he didn't,
But you came to the board to ask to do the work, but then we issued a positive saying that you had to come to conservation for another permit for a different type, a notice of intent.
Right, but when I seen the grass growing, I said it's not even worth going through all the headache. I just can remove it with a rake. You can just scrape
Okay.
it. I even called Steve and told him, Steve, what do I need to do to remove this? And he never called me back.
Okay.
I came to the office.
So you removed it and then you put the limestone on, the crushed stone? Or-
No, I put the crushed stone on top of the grass itself.
Okay.
I think what she's saying,
On one side. And the other side, I left it for Steve to see that grass grew all over the place, right on top of it, because the guy did a horrible job. Not only that, he didn't get to finish his job. I take that back. He did not get to finish his job. And because of that, I decided to get the stone on that side, get that done. And then I called Steve when that's before, I said, I'm not going to cover it until Steve sees it, that the grass is all over the place.
Okay.
And I said, I can just kick it off. I
Right.
can just scrape it.
Yeah.
That's how loose it is.
Right, okay.
So,
so am I hearing that you're willing to remove the stone? You just didn't want to for fear of getting in trouble?
right, I called Steve to tell me how to go about it.
So
And
it sounds
he's-
like she's willing to fix the problem.
Yeah.
Because I was taking it out myself with the rake, but the strong ones for gardening, I was doing it with that and it was coming off with no problem.
Chair, I see two solutions. The commission issued a positive determination, so you can either enforce that and say, listen, file a notice of intent, hire an engineer, surveyor, et cetera, or she can restore it back to where it was.
But it doesn't have to be grass, right? It can be the stone that I have already.
No, it would have to be restored back to its original condition, which was grass. And if you want to do anything beyond that, you have to file that notice of intent.
Just to throw stone on it, that's
Yes.
loose stone.
So you're in a special area, the aquifer. So what's the parking situation?
What do you mean?
How many parking spots do you have, or do you need?
Actually, I was just gonna do I bought a basketball hoop that I wanted to put in the middle of the garage for my son, and then utilize the left side, for parking, and put my trailer that's on that side on the other side. That's basically what I was doing.
How many living units are in this building?
Two
Okay.
family.
Okay. So we need to get some more pervious surface on the location, because you're in the aquifer, or you need to get a permit.
When you say,
So you need it to restore back to the grass that wants to grow there. So a portion of the lot needs to be grass. So like 80% of the lot needs to be grass.
80%?
Yes, right? 20% needs to be, can be altered, I think.
I mean, every driveway after that is like 80%
Yeah,
paved
more
with.
than 20%
So,
impervious.
Right.
Isn't a gravel
No.
surface permeable?
Nope. Sounds like it would be, but it's not. You drive over it enough, it becomes impervious.
Yeah,
And that's the way DEP treats it as well. It has very similar runoff curve to asphalt.
But, yeah, and then the voids are filled also
Yeah.
with the fines. So, do we have an
And I've been
idea?
calling around too, like to remove it, like I was calling around for a while and everybody was like, oh, it's off season or they're booked or whatever till April. Like,
Right, we need to come up with a plan.
yeah.
Because right now you've gotten a violation notice because you were doing some activity there that's not allowed without a permit. So we need to either restore it, like Brandon said, or you have to come back and have some calculations and a plan done of what you want to do. So you have the choice. But right now, we need a solution.
I mean, it doesn't sound like I have much of a choice, being
do
the
have a
owner of the
choice.
house.
You do have a choice. You're in a special area. The aquifer is more, prevalent than the rivers across the street.
So is it
you're
because
in
I'm
the-
at the end?
Nope, it's because we have an aquifer zone and your house is within that. So we need to have certain pervious surfaces.
Okay.
The rain has to be able to go into the ground to feed the aquifer that the drinking water comes from.
Oh,
Yeah, otherwise it sheds off and, it goes to places where it's not supposed to, it collects pollution, they try to prevent that. So it's a very serious kind of area. So-
I didn't think it would be, I mean, anything was wrong, because all the other parking lots are 80% paved. Every single one after mine.
Right, but it's new,
Why
so
be protective of trying to keep the ones that are still there and working? Those might have been paid for 40 years and before the time that we
Yeah,
put
before
up-
there was a law,
before there was a law.
yeah. I think those are the two options, Madam Chair, either restore it or enforce the requirement for a notice of intent.
right. Let me just see.
But even filing the notice of intent is gonna boil down to the same decision, right?
It might, correct.
Basically, because even if I'm doing stone, you're saying it's not period, so,
Well, if it's a necessity for you to park on your land and there was already a driveway there previously, that's going to come into consideration. I don't know what we can look at the historical aerial footage and see what
it's
was there.
very little parking. And like, everything was grass there, everything.
Right, but they're still going to have to comply with the aquifer zone requirements of no more than 20% impervious.
It's going through planning board
Yeah,
and there's waivers available.
okay. But still, there's rules to follow, and
I just need the guidance. I know how to follow rules.
So Steve gave you the guidance and we told you that you couldn't do it. You had to do a notice of intent. That's,
and I think what you need to do, Ms. Marcano, is hire a land surveyor or a civil engineer.
Yeah, I call them, and they're too expensive for my pocket.
Then maybe,
I got that far, and,
yeah,
it's like, you can't drain blood out of a stone, so.
then it sounds like restoration.
Yep. So would you be willing to restore it back to the way that it was before those activities? So
Yeah,
the
but I'm not
grass
gonna
is-
be able to do it right now, because the weather.
So we need a plan, so a commitment from you that this is
Writing.
going to be addressed.
Okay.
Do you email? Can you email?
Yes.
Okay. So can you email Jen or do you want her to email you?
Yeah, I can give you my card.
Okay.
Okay, and you can email me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I need a written plan, even if it's just in an email. Like, when you're gonna do the work, what are you gonna do?
Okay.
Okay?
I'm ready.
So I'm going to hold off on voting for the fine, because we typically issue fines when people do activities that they're not supposed to do. And I think Steve was helping you out. I believe this is Maria had helped you with this, maybe? Yeah. So we'll hold off on issuing the fine but we need it addressed as soon as we possibly can. I don't think anything's frozen yet, but, and if there was an existing driveway previously,
Obviously, over a portion of it, I'm sure. The question is, I have no history with the site, so I'd have to look at aerial photography is the best I could do.
right. So if you look back on Google Maps to before, 2020, let's just say,
Yeah,
I want to see where the location of the driveways were, or if you have photos from multiple listing, an approximate, and you can keep that portion. I would be okay. You keep that portion of the driveway. You have to park somewhere,
yeah.
so
So am I gonna be told where to park too?
you're going to tell us where you're parking.
Like, I
We're
could
gonna
park on
say-
the grass too?
You could.
Okay,
Oh, yeah. No, okay. I thought you meant like where your driveway was. Yeah, you can park there. That's okay. It's just the material that you brought in.
okay. So if the grass gets messed up or whatever, I'm not gonna get brought here because I'm missing patches of grass?
Nope.
Okay,
No,
all right.
no. So you're going to tell Brandon, I'm going to be removing the material in this location, and I'm going to be keeping this square footage
Yeah,
of material for a driveway area for parking.
And I can assist with that a little bit, like I could provide you an aerial photograph of your house and your
Yes.
land, and then you can then take a marker and draw in what you need to draw in,
okay,
okay?
all right.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate
So
that.
we'll have an update, if you want to zoom in, you can, for the next one, December 18th.
Yes.
But we'll keep this on.
I'll come in,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. And hopefully we'll have a little restoration plan and we can
Yes,
put it
Thank
behind
you.
us. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Okay. What time is it? 8:47. Okay. New business. 7 PM, public hearing, notice of intent, 209 Southwest Main Street, single-family home tight tank replacement. And you have a DP number. Okay, let me read the notice if I have it.
Notices are all right here.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I need to recuse myself.
Okay, thank you. For the record, Mark's recused himself. Legal notice for public hearing pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act. The Town of Douglas Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on November 20th at 7 PM for a notice of intent filed by Nicholas and Mary Beth Mello, located at 209 Southwest Main, for work to be done pursuant to the Town of Douglas Wetland Bylaw and the Wetland Protection Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40. The proposed work involves removal of an existing seasonal cottage, proposed construction of a small house, well, and replace an existing tight tank. Proposed work activities are within 100-foot buffer zone of Laurel Lake. Public participation will be available by attending the meeting at the Town of Douglas Municipal Center located at 29 Depot Street, or pursuant to Governor's March 29th, 2023 order suspending certain provisions of open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18. Public may participate in this meeting via remote participation. Website for the meeting will be provided on the conservation agenda posted on the town's website at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. Copies of the notice of intent may be examined electronically by contacting the Conservation Commission. Okay, welcome. Name and address.
Margaret Bacon, Allen Engineering, and I'm here with my clients requesting an order of conditions to replace an existing old cottage and replace an old tight tank. This is at 209 Southwest Main Street, and it's a pre-existing non-conforming lot. So we don't have a whole lot of room on this lot. Actually, the lot's not a bad size, but just to get your bearings, here's Southwest Main Street, Laurel Lake, the cottage, and then over here on this parcel, a lot of this is wetlands here, so there's nothing he can really do over here. So what he'd like to do, this property doesn't have a well, so he'd like to drill an artesian well, replace the 1,000-gallon tight tank with a 2,000-gallon tight tank, and replace the existing two-bedroom cottage with another year-round cottage, similar in size, and the cottage they're proposing would be on piers. We do have a floodplain. This is an estimated floodplain. FEMA did not have a base elevation for a floodplain on this pond, but based on their aerials in direct observations of the highest water elevation, and then based on we looked at an adjacent septic system and took topo from that, and we came up with a topo line at 660/50 that seemed to be reasonable for the 100-year floodplain. So we kept everything out of that, and then, like I say, the building is on piers, 3-foot piers, so we're above any floodplain elevation. This has already been through the Board of Health and has been approved. It also had to go before Natural Heritage because of this is rare and endangered species, and we got a letter of no adverse impact from them. And so the next step is going to the zoning board because of pre-existing non-conforming lot. But the zoning board now likes us to go before the commission first, before they want to make a decision. So that's how they kind of...
Well, we've historically
You wanna
for
be the last
20-plus years, yes.
If you want to be, but they don't want to make a decision and then have the commission change. So they're I guess, they're looking to the commission to make sure that what we're proposing here is not going to change. So when the zoning board looks at it, they're going to approve or deny what we have here.
Question.
So that's the way it's been this
Have they
year.
applied to zoning?
Okay. What?
Have they applied to zoning?
Yes.
Okay.
No, we're waiting for the denial letter from the building commissioner.
And he wouldn't give that until...
We came before the commission. So this all kind of flipped right around from how we used to do it. So I've done about 4 of these so far this year, and now they want to go before the commission. You can always, once the commission was comfortable with what we were doing, continue it based on, nothing's going to change from what I have, and then go before the zoning board, It's kind of catch-22 here.
It's never been an issue in the past. It's never been one issue.
But I hear you, this year.
Commission, comments, questions?
The proposed home, how many bedrooms are going to be in that one?
2.
2.
We can't go any larger than 2 because we're using a tight tank, and that doesn't allow us to increase the flow.
And the other thing, what's the actual name of that pond?
Well, I got Laurel.
You go Laurel there, you flip it over, it's Bad Luck Pond, you flip to the other one, it's Crystal Lake.
It's both.
Yeah, it's got numerous names.
Okay. Mike, any questions?
No comment.
Okay. So do we?
Would you like the pictorial tour?
Yeah, sure.
First, let everybody know there's wetland on the other side, it's BVW on the other side that goes through a pipe, and then it flows onto the site next to the house and the lawn. There's a little brook in here that eventually ends up in the lake right over here. Okay?
Intermittent stream or brook?
Intermittent.
Okay.
Okay. So here we go. Before I begin, I'd like to point out that there's a little-known and seldom enforced rule in 310 CMR 10. This states that when other local permits are required, they must be applied for before the commission can make a decision. Just want to let you know that,
Thank you.
okay?
Probably why we,
I asked
yeah,
about zoning.
that's probably why we've always said that we go last.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the house from the road. The wetland would be on the left-hand side. Kind of looking to the right, looking to the left. Here's the wetland over here. Here's one of the blue flags. Here's where the pipe comes onto the, discharges onto the property. Here's a little intermittent stream on the other side of the road, actually. And then you turn back to the property, and here's a little stream going through the wetland to the left side of the house. The 209 to memorialize that. The house is, could be in better shape. Looks like it's an old, just fishing camp. Looks like it was probably built completely on fill 100 years ago. So historic fill, not worried about it, any illegal fill here. Okay, but this is what it looks like. And one of the reasons why I say historic fill is because the sedges and rushes are coming right up into the area that they've been using. But to their credit, they called the wetland going straight, pretty much right through the middle of this picnic table. Here's the dock. Seen better days. Yeah. This is what the shoreline looks like currently. Looking back at the house. A more wide angle lens. Yeah, there's kind of junk everywhere. And looking back across from the other direction. So that brook goes through the woods on the other side there. So, there's a bunch of stuff that's actually in the wetland right now. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Do I have the conservation plan? The repair tight tank design plan?
The plan that was submitted is the plan I just shared, which is this one right here.
So, we don't have the slurry pit, we don't have the setbacks, we don't have the driveway, we don't have there's no foundation drain. Where's all the stuff? Is this
Slurry
the,
pit, yeah, okay, we don't have that on there, missed that.
where's my setbacks to closest structures?
Well, I do have a setback from the lake, 50, actually, well, this lake, it's not a nice smooth run, but I've got it 50 feet from here. We tried to keep it 50 feet back, but then we have the zoning offset right here, so, it's kind of a balancing act, keeping it far enough away from the lake and then keeping it back from the zoning.
I need some sort of anti-creep. Where's the driveway? They have no driveway?
Yeah, there's an existing driveway there, so all I can think of is maybe a layer that left it.
Yeah, I'm thinking I think the wetland layers got left off.
Yeah, well, we pick up the driveway, so I'm just guessing that maybe that's what happened. I didn't pick up on that.
And then I don't see my existing two-bedroom cottage with the layers off.
Existing two-bedroom cottage, well, it's kind of grayed out.
Okay, I can see, no, if I imagine it. Maybe
there.
it's this,
It's too light of a gray.
yeah, I think it's my print.
Well, what happens is we scan these in after we stamp them, we scan
Yeah.
them in, and sometimes the gray just doesn't come out that good.
Yeah.
So, can you see it better up on the screen?
No.
Not really, it's too light.
It's right here's the original.
Yeah, now I'm kind of I see the arrow.
Yeah,
So
right here is where the current edge of the house is.
So we're getting closer to the wetland.
Right, but as you see, the zoning setback, so, we're a little more conforming than the original. So it's a balancing act.
I'm hearing from you that they want conservation to say what they want first.
Well,
So you can get no closer than what's existing, the existing structure.
well, in the existing, we're 50 feet away from 50 feet away from the lake, but. So if I push that house, further away, then it's just going to be more non-conforming with that front setback.
I don't want to start designing for you, but we don't have the distance to the edge of the wetland. And we're getting closer than the existing. I can't really quite see the existing.
Does somebody see what's going on?
Somebody locked himself out.
We don't have a stockpile area. So we're 100%, so I'd like to see, focus on what's existing there, to see the increases in disturbance. Lawn, trees, I think you have, like where the existing tree line is. Commission, any additional comments right now?
I think you need more clarification as to what they're doing here. 'Cause I'm looking at an area, it must have been the front of where the cottage was. This is existing two-bedroom cottage.
Mm-hmm.
So is that where the front wall was? Is it?
Yes.
Right with that
You
arrow.
can kind of see there's
Where
like a
was the
gray
back-
hatch.
Where was the back part of it?
It was,
It's right at the top of the word proposed. It runs right along that edge.
that's why proposed is a little blurry.
Right.
Okay.
So the very top of the letters is where the edge of the house is.
So do you have Steve's old checklist?
No, I never even knew it existed.
Okay. So I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Margaret, you have his
Yeah. I
checklist.
can dig it up.
If we can,
Yeah.
if we can go along that
Yep.
to capture everything, especially the setbacks and then the existing conditions.
What's the distance from the back left corner to the lake? Do you know?
No, we don't
The
know.
back left
Probably
corner
20 feet.
of the new house to the lake, I've got 50 feet. To the front deck, all right?
Yeah.
They're proposing a sun deck towards the lake. And so from the closest point of the lake, not the BVW of the lake, I have 50 feet.
Right, on the other side, and going angled, what's that distance to the lake there?
Well, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
like
probably say it's
between
probably.
flags 3 and 4, like where the lake is right there.
Yeah, I don't have a scale.
So we have the 50-foot wetland buffers on here. So it's probably about 20 feet. And then we've got the well right on the edge.
Well, and the reason that well's there is because I have to keep the tight tank 50 feet away outside the well radius, and then I have a septic over here, and here's my 100-foot radius for that well, so I'm pushed right up here to meet that setback requirements, because there is no well there on that property now.
Right. So I think we need to see the existing conditions and the existing setbacks of what the structure, where the structure is, how close it is. And we typically don't like to get any closer than what's
Okay,
existing.
okay.
So that'll pull the well. If you push this, is there any reason why the tight tank can't move forward to 10 feet off of the property line?
Yeah, but I don't think why, yeah.
I don't want to redesign it right now,
I hear
but,
you, I hear you.
yeah.
Well, one thing, because I am going to talk to the building department tomorrow. Or sometime this week, because we would like to file the zoning. And I know, is my understanding, that the commission likes to be the last permitting.
I think that's statutory, actually.
Yeah, so I don't know, for some reason this year, they flipped it. And because I had a couple more coming, and they want me to go to the Conservation Commission first.
Steve,
before-
yeah, because Steve's not here. That's why, that's the change. So we can let's pull the statutory requirement.
Okay.
I'm sure I could just Google it.
I got it right here.
We also,
It's 310 CMR 10.05 4E. Right there, and this is from another project that I've worked on right there, so.
let me see, 310.
Okay, so what, I can make these revisions, and then in the meantime, we're gonna try to get the building commissioner to.
Yeah, Brandon Brandon can speak with him, yeah. And also, stairs, I don't see any stairs. How are we getting out of this house?
Okay. I'll get those on, not a big deal.
Okay.
Last question.
Yes.
Is the commission comfortable with her estimation of the 100-year flood level? Or did she need to do a more thorough study? As it is, she has a estimated elevation of 660.50, and she's got first floor at 664, so 3.5 feet above the estimated 100-year flood level, but are you comfortable with it?
I think that's also a question for the building inspector.
And like I said, for a lot of these flood zones that do not have elevations, first thing you do is you use that polygon on the FEMA map, and you try to put that, scale that onto the best you can. Then you ask, for direct observations, and that's allowed in the regulations. If there is not a base flood elevation, actual field observations. And talking to Don, the highest he's ever seen that water is up towards the
In
cottage.
the hurricane of 1955, the water was within a foot of the sill on the existing cabin.
Okay.
Okay, and
So
then
let's-
and then also the neighbor's septic,
Yes.
I pulled up the as-built,
Yeah.
the final grading. And so, I'm sure that's not in the floodplain, so you take those elevations, and they all kind of seem to coincide around that 60.5, so I felt comfortable using that as the best guesstimate of a floodplain elevation, because to do a flood study is very expensive.
Okay, I'm okay with what you've determined, what you're using. Okay, so, and then if you move it out even further, gain a couple feet. All right, anyone in the audience have any questions or concerns regarding this filing? Yes, name and address.
Art Munjum, 195 Southwest Main Street. You brought up several points, Tracy, that I wanted to, or Madam Chair, that I wanted to bring up, and that is the deficiency in the plan of showing any of, or a lot of the existing conditions. There's no driveway shown, there's no vegetation shown. There's no existing tight tank. I never knew there was a tight tank on the site. They have an outhouse, but I didn't realize there was ever a tight tank on that property, and I would like to see where it is. So that was one thing that I request the commission have added to the plan.
I do have that on the plan. That is on the plan.
The outhouse is not the tight tank.
No, it is,
No,
actually.
it is, if you look inside the tight tank,
Yeah,
it's the
we'll put the new
line.
tight tank
Oh.
over the existing.
The house is
Okay.
actually well into the BVW.
Yeah, there's a 1,000-gallon existing tank. You have pumping records for that in the Board of Health?
It's never been used.
No, I don't think it hasn't been used.
Okay, all right.
There should be a 25-foot buffer line shown on the plan, and there should be indications as to the distance of the work from those in relation to the 25-foot buffer line. As you said, the structure is being expanded towards the wetland, and it's within 25 feet of the wetland, which I have a lot of concern with, and would like to not have the building be expanded in a non-conforming area, or in a, closer to the wetland than what it is now. You talked about the floodplain elevation, and I had the same question about, is that an accurate floodplain elevation? So I was actually looking at the plan for Mr. Moran's property, which is on the other side of us. And they have completely different numbers for elevations. And it is a pond, so, it should be the same elevation of floodplain.
What did they
around the
have
edge
for
of the pond.
numbers?
They have the floodplain elevation at 498.85, which doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, so they must have been using a different type of,
Yeah, the base.
yeah, elevation base and.
An assumed base or something, an assumed elevation?
You must use an assumed. Now, we actually brought our GPS out there, so.
Yeah, the benchmark.
Just their elevation for floodplain is at 498.85 with a water elevation of plus or minus 493, which is a 5-foot difference between water elevation and floodplain, whereas this plan has water elevation at 658.5 and floodplain at 660.5 is only a 2-foot difference in elevation. So I think if you're warranted in wanting to have that looked at a little bit more closely to see which is more correct. And yeah, the tight tank really concerns me. I didn't realize there was a tight tank there, and the fact that it's going to be 6 feet underwater, under the water level. How is that going to be installed? How is that going to be maintained to protect the pond, protect the water in the pond and the wetland?
6 feet? No, the location of the tank is where? What's the elevation?
Right here. So we would get a 2,000-gallon monolithic tank. It didn't have a seal around the outside of it. And obviously, we had to put collars on it so that it would flow.
Yeah.
So we realized groundwater could be an issue. Now, the existing tank doesn't float, so.
Right, so what are you at for elevation in that location? 6 what?
662.
At the tank?
At the tank, 662, yeah.
Okay.
And the tank is 6 foot deep.
Yep, and so the groundwater's 658, so that's about 4 feet below.
Okay. Yeah.
Find that
Yeah,
hard
wait.
to believe.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's not groundwater, it's not standing.
A 4-foot water table there, where the wetlands are at 661, right next door. Wetlands have extended high water tables, extended periods of the year in order for it to be a wetland. And that's so, say there's a 4-foot water table there, I think that's a little bit of a stretch.
No, it's standing water, right? You didn't do any soils?
We'll use the lake elevation. but
Yeah,
that brings up a good point, but since the whole cottage, the proposed cottage is getting raised up 3 feet anyways, this tight tank could probably be raised up also,
Yeah, because, you didn't actually determine groundwater.
We didn't do perks or anything.
No. Okay, anything else?
Just one last thing, the driveway.
Yeah.
And currently, they drive in around the house, around the back of the house, so they're right at the edge of the wetland at the back of the house.
Okay.
I'd want to know what their proposed plan is if the house is getting enlarged towards the wetland, and, where the parking would be and what the materials would be to build it.
Okay. Sounds good, thank you. Anyone else? Question? Anyone? No one, is anyone on Zoom for this hearing? 209 Southwest Main. Not seeing anyone. Okay. On December 18th. Entertain a motion to continue the public hearing to December 18th at 7.
So moved.
Motion made by Joe. Seconded by Eric. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Tracy Sharkey, aye. Thank you.
In the meantime, we're going to try to get this ZBA application in. So if you want to be.
Yeah,
the
keep us
last one in
posted.
the Permitting train, so we'll come back before you the 18th, make sure that you're satisfied with all the changes, continue it again until after the ZBA meeting.
How about Board of Health?
Board of Health's already.
They're already approved. So I would really, yes, I would look at our local bylaw also, because you know that we really don't prefer more encroachment than what's existing, so. And before, yeah, go on the ZBA route.
Yeah, okay, no.
Okay. All right, next item, 7 PM, it's 9:16, notice of intent for Summer Court. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, Mass Wetlands Protection Act, Town of Douglas Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing November 20th at 7 PM for notice of intent filed by Stephen Bloom, located at 4 Summer Court, for work to be done pursuant to Wetland Bylaw and Wetland Protection Act. The work involves proposed construction of a garage, repair an existing septic system, and remove several large trees. Some of the proposed work activities are within 100-foot buffer zone of Lake Manchac. Public participation will be available by attending the meeting at the Town of Douglas Municipal Center located at 29 Depot Street, Douglas, pursuant to Governor's March 29th, 2023 order suspending certain provisions of open meeting law. Public may participate in this meeting via remote participation. A website for the meeting will be provided on the conservation agenda posted on the town's website at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. Okay, welcome. Name and address, please.
Margaret Bacon, Allen Engineering, and I'm here with the owner applicant, Steve Bloom. And we're here requesting a permit to do several things. Right now, here we have Lake Manchac, existing house. Up here on the hill, within the 100-foot buffer zone, he has an existing system that's in failure. It's not a very old system, so we're going to replace that, leave the tanks. Existing, has got existing septic tank pump chamber. We don't have to do anything with that. We'll replace the existing leach field up on the hill, which is right on the, just about, right on the 100-foot buffer zone line. There's some trees that he would like to have removed, a couple up here. They're in the way of the septic. He is proposing a garage over here. This is outside the 100-foot buffer zone, but there's another tree here that he'd like to remove. And then there's several trees down there by the lake, big large pines he'd also like to remove that become a hazard. So while he has the tree cutters in there taking care of these other trees, he'd like to take care of those also.
Okay, getting to my plan. Garage is outside.
Garage is outside.
Okay.
Routing stuff is already going through for that. Yeah, the septic system is right around the 100-foot zone from the lake, and the boundary of the lake is, as is with much of Manchac Pond, is a retaining wall, so that's pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, you know, it's more than 50 feet away. It's within the footprint of the existing system.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the site. I spoke to Mrs. Bloom, thank you.
Yeah, Sherry, yep.
Yep, Dr. Sherry. And she showed me, you know, where everything was and why they have to replace such a fairly new system, unfortunately, but it's within the same footprint as the one that's already there.
It's 7 years old with 6 years worth of use.
Yeah, which is not entirely a lot. What interested me more was the proposed removal of trees down by the water. 3 to be proposed, 2 large pine trees and 1 large oak near the house. And I think the best way to explain it is to show you the pictures. Okay, so
And what's the reason for the removal?
I think you'll see in a second.
Oh, okay.
They're,
Okay.
Yeah, so anyway, I'll show you the front first. Right side of the driveway, left side of the driveway. This is probably where they want to put the garage, right up here, and I believe it's this tree right here.
yeah.
They'd like to take down for the garage. Here's where the existing.
That's outside.
Yeah,
That's outside,
Yeah.
yes.
it's outside. So here's where the existing system is, right in this flat area. So that seems like a no-brainer to me. So here's where the existing tank is. Right side, looking down. So now the the pine trees are these 2 pine trees right here. Looking back at the house, showing the slope going down from the septic system, which is up here on the left-hand side, going down towards the house. And here's one of the trees right here. They're very tall. I'd say they're at least 80-foot tall pine trees. Here they are again, right here. And here's that oak tree right next to the house. I can tell you that if any of these trees fall down, they're going completely through the house if they fall the wrong way.
Could you zoom in a little bit, make it bigger picture?
Yeah.
Thanks.
So this oak tree right here is very close to the house. So I can understand why. What I recommended to Mrs. Bloom is that she obtain a letter from a certified arborist, and they did.
Oh, wonderful.
So I have that. And it's done by Full Circle Tree Care, Dwight Bristow. And then he says the trees in question are 2 very large pine trees and the oak tree. I would have to recommend removal of these trees before potential hazard becomes a deadly reality. These stumps should be ground out before ants become a problem.
Okay.
So I think they've done their due diligence with the trees, you know, and you know, not only that, but this, Mrs. Bloom was telling me that the retaining wall along the lake is starting to bow out because of the trees.
Okay.
They're within 12 inches of the wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
30 and 36 inch diameter trees, so they're close.
So there you go. It's
Yeah, they're right there. And it's not the wall right at the lake, it's a secondary wall further back.
Okay.
right. DEP issued a file number just today, 143-1087, and they made a very good comment. And this is a common thing along the Great Ponds, because Manchog is a great pond. And they wanted to know if any of the work was going to be done in waters of the state. Well, how could any of this be done in the waters of the state? Well, my experience in other parts of the pond and some other great ponds in the immediate area, between the 1920s and 1950s, it was very common for the folks to fill in a little bit of the lake in order to get a little more lawn. But here's the thing, is that it's still waters of the state, because the state knows what the extent of the great ponds were before they started getting filled in. So if you want to do work on sometimes even the lawn, you have to go back to the state. So like, just a general, it doesn't look like it's going to be an issue, but just a question, is any of this yard back here filled in part of the Great Pond that anybody knows of?
Not that I have any history of. I know the cottage was put in back in 1935 or 36, and any sort of site maps and everything that we've had on the property shows it right from the wall back. So.
Right. I personally don't think that taking down dangerous trees is going to trigger a Chapter 91 license, but DEP asked the question, so I'm asking the question.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Commission, anything? Questions, comments?
No.
Mark?
No, it's good with me.
Okay, anyone in the audience have any questions or comments regarding this hearing? No? Okay. Entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So,
Motion made by Joe,
second.
second by Mike. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Greco, aye.
Mark Mangumai.
Tracy Sharkey, aye.
Question for the vote. Does the commission have any inkling to have them replace what is being cut down?
Not, my opinion is no.
Okay.
They're not, it's not providing any shade. It is?
That big.
Okay.
And there are branches that go out over the water. It's up to you, it's your call.
Could we see another
Yeah, sure.
photo of?
Come on.
I mean, he's gonna have to get pretty close to the water to
Could we duplicate
create.
it, though? I mean, if they're 80-foot tall trees,
No, you can never.
you couldn't really duplicate to get the shade.
I think your question's answered then.
Okay. I mean, with the stone wall, with the distance, with the reason why they're requesting to take them down.
Oh.
What's your, no, okay. Anybody?
No.
Or,
Just a note, we still have 5 trees on the right-hand side of the picture that are still there, they're existing. We're not messing with any of those.
Right.
We're just trying to take out the 2 big ones that we're afraid of, that's all.
mhm.
And obviously, the oak in this picture, you can see it is leaning over the roof of the house.
Yeah, so you're gonna grind in place?
We're gonna
So
find
no,
a place.
no
Yeah, I
stuff
don't want to
around.
disturb the wall,
Yeah.
I'm not going to excavate, no.
Yeah, okay. Right. Okay, any more? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to issue the order of conditions for Summer Court.
So moved.
Motion made by Joe,
Second.
second by Mike. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mangumai.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night. 7 PM RDA public meeting, request for determination of applicability, 93 Cliff Street, Pine Sand and Stone Company. Douglas Conservation Commission will hold a public meeting related to the following: filing under the Wetland Protection Act and the Town of Douglas non-zoning wetlands bylaw. Request for determination of applicability as requested by Pine Sand and Stone Company, Inc. The applicant is Pine Sand and Stone. Owners of the property are Beaupre Properties, Bolsey Hill Realty LLC, Ronald and Nancy Anger. The proposed work is located at 93 and 69 Cliff Street, Assessors Map 106, parcels 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 9.1, and 9.2. The proposed project is for the proposed pine, sand, and stone earth material processing facility to be located at 93 and 69 Cliff Street in Douglas. Pine, Sand, and Stone is proposing to process various soil, gravel, stone, and construction and landscaping materials by mixing them using stone crushers, screening plants, and use of heavy construction machinery. Construction will involve extensive grading to split the site into upper and lower yards. The upper yard will be used for the processing of earth materials, including but not limited to sand, gravel, crushed rock. The lower yard will be used exclusively for asphalt, brick, and concrete recycling operations. Access to the property will be via Cliff Street public roadway. Proposed project is being located greater than 100 feet from any nearby wetland resource areas. Public meeting will be held on November 20th at 7 PM in the Municipal Center, 29 Depot Street. Application is available for review by appointment at Conservation Commission, 29 Depot Street during normal business hours. All interested parties are urged to attend.
Good evening.
Okay, good evening.
Murray Bristol, Pine Sand and Stone, along
Yes.
with David Feist from
Hello.
CMG.
And also with us is Scott Jordan with Ecotech on Zoom tonight, in case there's any wetland resource area questions.
Okay, great. So, I suppose, what is your purpose of the RDA? Let's start there.
Okay, as part of the permitting process, we were before the planning board, and they suggested we come before the commission and file an RDA just to show our proposed project is there was a notice of intent for the industrial park that was built years ago. The current operation is a scrap metal recycling facility that is there currently, located, actually, Chairman? So the existing site has existing driveway, existing buildings and yard areas that are associated with the existing scrap metal facility permitted back, I think, in the early 2000s. There's a certificate of compliance from the commission granted in 2015 for the, the completion of the construction of the paved roadway and the wetland crossing that you see down in this area. As part of our proposed project, Pine Sand and Stone now has a purchase and sale agreement on the 8 properties that are shown highlighted in yellow. On their wetland resources areas are shown. They were delineated by Ecotech earlier this year. And we made sure we have basically the Pine Sand and Stone facility will be located in the rear of the proposed material yards. We've located everything outside of the jurisdictional buffer zones. And at the planning board meeting, they suggested we come before the commission with an RDA just to verify that it's not under the jurisdiction of the commission. And we'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, the DEP email. The proposed crossing shown on the existing conditions.
Right. So I can help to answer.
Sure.
So one of the things I have the ability to do is overlay the site plan on aerial photography. So that's what I did.
Okay.
And I colored in the wetlands here in green. Okay.
Green.
Yeah, green here, here, and here. With a little pink outline. I'll zoom in. See that? Okay. So this, what I did is when I used my geo-reference points, I geo-referenced corners of the buildings, so you can see these squares line up very well with the aerial photography. So between all that, it what we call rotates everything else in. And one of DEP's questions was that there might be a riverfront area on the site. So what I did is I know that there's a stream, there's USGS blue line south of the property and to the south and the east of the property, which is right here. So I did a 200-foot buffer around that, which is this red line right here. And it doesn't even go onto the property.
Okay.
So I can rule that out right away.
Okay.
Okay, and, yeah, so I think that I did that, taking care of the DEP's comments, because once I heard those comments, it freaked me out. I'm like, what did I miss? So I had to check it out. I'm not doing the work for them, I just got freaked out because I thought I was wrong.
So freaky.
So, yeah, so I did some, Jen Kuchar and I did some background check on this road right here.
Yep.
Because that was another question by DEP, like, well, because they show the road, actually, on the assessor's maps in a different location, which is right here, okay? Which goes right through the middle of this wetland. So that was definitely a concern, but the answer is, and you can reiterate, that you're going to be using the existing roadway right here, am I right?
That is correct.
So there's no plans to actually develop this right here?
That is correct.
Yeah, that was the previous subdivision roadway that the assessors had.
Right. And I checked it, and there's actually 2 orders of conditions, and there's 2 certificates of compliance.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
great.
So this is what the development looks like, where it's going to be. I checked the wetland boundaries. All the wetland boundaries look correct to me. They don't need any adjustments. But the one thing that does concern me is that maybe I should go back to this one here. They have the 100-foot buffer and this grading right side by each, the LOD. Right, so that's always a concern, because whenever you have a slope like that and it's unstabilized and you have a big storm and you have the erosion control right at the base of that slope, it can get knocked over pretty quickly. And what I personally like to see is to have at least a 5-foot buffer from the bottom of the slope to where the erosion controls are, because it allows any sediment coming down the hill to settle out before it reaches it. And I want to ask if there's any room to do that.
Yes, there is.
Right.
Yeah, we can accommodate that, no problem. And we're still in the planning board process, so we'd be able to provide.
Okay.
Perfectly fair.
So does that mean that there'll be a revised plan on this one? or-
I guess the question to Ms. Chairman, again, in our case, again, we're already not in the buffer zone, we're pulling it further away from the buffer zone. If necessary, we'd be more than happy to provide another drawing that confirms.
Or you could just condition
Condition,
it?
yeah. To hold at the bottom of the basin.
Right.
Any other concerns?
No,
Okay.
that's really the only place they're getting close to a resource area. Because right now, it's going to be a negative, I forget which number, but basically non-jurisdictional.
Non-jurisdictional with the condition, and that will be provided the revised plan. So we'll be in the loop anyway with planning board.
Okay.
Commission?
No.
Anything? Mark? Questions, concerns? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the request for determination of applicability, or give it a negative.
Issue a negative
Issue a
with the
negative.
condition
Yeah.
that at the bottom of the basin, the erosion control will be 5 feet from the 100-foot.
Condition that at the bottom of the slope next to the wetland, that the limit of work be 5 feet away from the wetland,
Okay,
from the 100-foot buffer.
yep. Motion made by Mark,
Second.
second by Joe. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Greco, aye.
Mark Mojamai.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Didn't need to say anything. Okay. Old business, public hearing continued, 34 Cobblestone Lane. We did not have a DEP number the last time, right? Come on over. Good evening.
Good evening. So they sent it to the wrong email address.
I'm sorry.
That's what I got the.
Name and
following
address,
day.
please.
Oh, Lindsay. Lindsay Sarah Emanuel, 48 North Street, Douglas, Mass.
Okay, and
And Bruce Wilson.
Bruce Wilson's the engineer.
hello,
There on the
Bruce.
screen.
Hi. Okay. The only thing we were waiting for was the DEP number.
Correct.
right? Okay. Board, do we have any questions, comments? Brandon?
I checked it out.
Okay. Anyone in the audience?
My only
Yeah.
critique is that, and I'm going to probably say this a lot, when someone submits a notice of intent or an IDA with the wetland boundaries, that they have the flags refreshed so they're up and legible.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of them were down. couldn't find.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it looks like it complies with all the riverfront area regs.
Okay, yep, okay, we were gonna check that.
Yeah.
I think we found that. Okay, anyone else? Okay, commission? Entertain a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Motion made by Mike,
Second.
second by Joe. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Greco, aye.
Mark Mojamai.
Okay. Motion to issue the order of conditions for 34 Cobblestone Lane.
So moved.
Motion made by Mark,
Second.
second by Mike. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Greco, aye.
Mark Mojamai.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. Have a good night. Okay, public hearing continued, 11 and 17 Potter Road. Come on down.
Oops.
Time is 9:40.
We'll let
Excuse me, Glenn Kowalski from EBT Environmental. Will it also be on the board up there?
Yeah, we sure will. Just give me a
Thank you,
second.
appreciate it. I wasn't rushing anyone.
Here we go. I have pictures of these too.
Jessica Bankston, owner of 11 and 17 Potter Road.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, where would you like to begin?
Your agent, if whatever you would like, myself or the agent first.
Why don't you tell us a little summary?
Thank you. So the DEP did issue the file number, Rare Species did issue their letter. They also, so with the Rare Species Program, said we were not affecting this habitat. We know what's there. We added, I believe everybody here knows what's there, a reptile. And we added some habitat for them and kept all other work. There was no work, they're just two open areas, sandy areas. There's some photos showing what we normally do for that turtle. Excuse me, did I say it? Dead animal. And keep all other work. The retaining wall would have to be removed and other boulders, and there might be an extension. Mr. Faniff might ask for an extension of some of that erosion control line that's on the top of the slope. There is erosion control line put in by S&M Farms at the bottom of the slope. It has been beefed up by the applicants. We do have runoff coming down the road. Some of it did follow that erosion control and followed it over a few times. And the sediment going into the lake. We have photos exhibit in your notice of intent package of that problem. There is 600 feet of road coming down, so it does enter into the applicant's property. So that's been an ongoing issue as it's a dirt road on a green. So everything gets removed out. The U.S. Department of Agriculture did issue a permit on this new agriculture. The DEP did recognize that, new agriculture. So all work is to be removed, the forest replanted. We just, I could have brought in some photos. We just left the replanting of CVS and Ware on 32 that we replanted approximately 10, 12 years ago. I could look back in the data. I happened to be working there on the tractor supply that we're permitting. And it grew back fine with the pines and the northern red oak, and that's what we have proposed. And we had a 10-foot spacing of the plant species. The wetland boundary at the bottom is fairly well defined. It's a steep slope, pretty much so, except for that one location. Mr. Faniff might have seen where there's two flags that say approximate because they were under the boulders, and if we're looking at the hydric soils on both sides and non-hydric, we feel that they're only going to, once we remove the boulders here, that line, looking at the glacial wash and how that slope works, should only be a couple feet further in, but we won't know exactly where those number 10A and 11A are until we remove the boulders. Again, we all have seen the boulders there. 4 foot in diameter, plus minus, so that we can't get underneath them until we remove them. That's some photos of the boulders. We would, I would ask the clients, and also the commission, as to the time of the year, we're getting later in the season, as to if we did receive a permit, then the snow begins. This is probably something, let me say, unless you counter me, I would probably tackle maybe in the spring. Some of the, I mean, moving the shed and moving other things out of the riverfront area in the logs, but as far as ensuring we have enough loom and removing the boulders, I'd like to ask my clients, because we haven't discussed that point, if we do get the permit.
Yeah, just the
As to
two,
the time of the year.
yeah, the two nesting has to be before the April 15th. So you'd have to do that whenever,
Weather permitting,
yeah.
we
Yeah.
are fully
Ready to go?
ready to start as soon as it's approved. Move the shed, move the logs, move whatever needs to come out, and then start on the boulder wall right away.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
To the chairwoman.
Yeah.
Then I will recommend the extension, once this is removed, that we would, so that we wouldn't have any kind of erosion going overland to this needing to be extended silt fence line entrenched to ensure that there's no sediment going around it and then down to that secondary line. We want to make sure to beef that up so we don't have any more erosion
Did
going
you-
down to the bottom
you have
from
some-
our upper site.
Yeah, you have some construction sequence, yeah, you have your restoration sequence plan anyway here, on your plan. So that's good. Brandon, anything?
I went to the site. Would anybody like a tour? Or have you all seen it?
I've seen it.
Seen it? Yep.
That's it.
Seen it? All right, good. I reviewed the wetland boundary, everything looks spot on, so no questions with the wetland boundary. I talked to Mr. Bankston about it, gave me some background, because this is another one I'm inheriting, so it was good to, I want to thank him for giving me some background. I guess that the unique thing with this one is that they're proposing the limit of work at the 100-foot riverfront boundary, not 200-foot, because they're claiming agriculture. So I just want to explore that for a quick minute and ask a question. So through the chair, when Mr. Krawowski said that they have a USDA approval, is that a farm plan? Is it a tax number?
We have farm ID numbers through the USDA. I've submitted those in.
Okay.
And it is part of the application, we do have it in the application.
I can confirm that under the agricultural section of 310 CMR, there's a lot of exemptions and privileges given to farmers, but you have to qualify as one. And when you are a farmer, when you do have land in production, the riverfront area is only 100 feet for new agriculture, not 200 feet. So you take 100 feet right off of that. Okay? And I asked Mr. Bankston if they have any commodities that they're selling. Are they selling any plants? He told me that they're selling some chicken eggs. And I just wanted to explore that a little bit further to try and see if they qualify to the commission's satisfaction.
Apparently, it's, we did write that, that's also in the notice of intent, the commodities and also the sales of that product to farm stands and to markets like Worcester Market. So DEP saw all that. They recognized that it did meet the agricultural clause, and they didn't have any arguments at all about that 100-foot riverfront area, because they recognized that we have the farm plan, we were selling the commodity, there's going to be we've done other farms where, in other locations, you have to sell a product, show receipts. We put that also in the notice of intent, that there will be receipts, and that's why we were detailed on that point. We didn't just automatically take it that we were going to be given this 100 feet. And so we outlined it. In fact, we looked at even more agricultural provisions to potentially extend a season. There's some sheds presently that are on the market. I've talked to the surveyors at the site today. It's over by where I live in Oxford. And we had an email go back and forth today that we'll be looking at more so that we can extend the season. These stainless steel structures that Costigan's greenhouse has in Oxford at 56 and 12, because they just went out of business. So we're going to be extending into that product. So it's apples, goats, goat cheese.
I have various fruit trees that are already planted and established on the property. We harvested some products this year. They are young trees, but we were able to pick some fruits off of them. I do have chickens that we get the eggs from. We do have goats that we get the goat's milk from, that I have been making goat's milk soaps and body butters and stuff with. So these are all commodities that I am able to sell and use the profits as those for proof for the farm ID numbers and our identifications of selling.
Right, so as far as the regulation goes, what is the threshold for qualifying for the 100-foot reduction in the riverfront area?
You have to be, you have to have a commodity that you are selling for profit, not just for your own consumption. So you can't be what's called a gentleman farmer. You have to be not necessarily you don't have to be making a profit. One thing I learned a long time ago from DEP is that being a farmer doesn't mean that you have to be a quote-unquote good farmer making a lot of money, right? But you do have to be selling product, okay? There's an unofficial, like, I don't think it's written down anywhere, this is what I've always heard, it's like if you're making at least $500 a year and you're keeping those receipts, it's a guarantee, but I don't know anywhere that that's written down. The important thing is that the farmer is keeping receipts of their sales.
Yeah, that's 61A, I believe.
Well, that's a tax.
Is the 500.
That's the 500.
Yeah.
That's a tax incentive program that doesn't necessarily guarantee you entrance into the agricultural exemptions. But basically, you just have to have a commodity that's being grown, or, even if you have like a horse farm with paddocks and you got horses and you're getting money for keeping the horses there, that counts as well. So it sounds to me like what they're doing qualifies as long as the commission is satisfied with what they're saying. And that means that the riverfront area is now no longer 200 feet, it's 100 feet. And what I can see on this plan, they got the 100-foot riverfront area zone there, and they're proposing to pull everything out of it.
Okay. Commission? Comments, questions? We've also got comments from DEP. Commission, we want to consider including special conditions that require at least 2-year monitoring period and steps to ensure the proposed replication must achieve 75% survival. So you're agreeable to that? Okay.
We've accepted that in the order of conditions that you might write.
Okay.
That we monitor it. We're going to look to you as to how frequently you want that, spring,
Okay.
fall, how many reports you might want, once a year potentially.
Yeah.
So I understand.
Before you come back for your certificate of compliance.
And Madam Chair, I always recommend the work has to be done 6 months before the end of the growing season to be considered a full growing season. So
Okay.
they can't finish it at the end of September and then come in October saying, hey, we got a year's worth of monitoring done.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
that's
the-
fine. I'd like that for the special condition.
Yeah, the other part of it, Mr. Kravosky was saying that NHESP gave them the no take, but they had a condition, and the condition was that the work has to be done during a time of the year when the wood turtles are not nesting. So there's a
Right.
time of year restriction. So they have to avoid certain times of year, which would be good to have in the condition, just reiterate it.
Yeah, so we're going to incorporate the conditions from Natural Heritage.
Yeah.
So it's October 31st to April 15th for nesting. Okay.
Well, no,
It can't be done?
It's not,
overwintering.
That can be done to avoid nesting.
That is where they're asking us to remove the
Yes.
older wall within
Yes.
that timeframe by April 15th.
Yes.
if I could, it's not so much the nesting, that's when they roam the land to feed. So they're in the river the other time of the year when it's too cold. So after that October, that period in the fall is when they're back in the river, and when they come out of the river is that upper date.
Yeah.
So every other time, they might be roaming the land or in the river, but that's when they're back in the river for winter. So if you're working when they're back in the river, I know because I photograph them underwater in the winter.
Oh, nice.
And radio transmitters on them, in the 80s, and hatched now so far 141 off my own property with a rare species collection permit, where I create the turtle nesting habitat, screen them from human commensals, and then in August, this year was August 30th, they started emerging, but normally it's right at that late August.
Right. So
Awesome.
Natural Heritage rights, work associated with the removal of the boulder wall shall occur during the inactive season for wood turtles from October 31 to April 15. So basically, they want them to do the work over the winter.
Yep.
With saying that, I apologize, we will have to take those precautions to ensure that we get it stable or make sure the erosion controls are adequate to handle the spring rains without grass on the ground.
Okay. Yep. All right. Board, do we have any other questions, comments?
I have.
Sure.
So I'm looking at the plan, and what is happening in the restoration area? I'm reading your general project description, and you say you're planting 133 woody plants on a 10-foot spacing and 37 ferns. That's in that replication?
It's restoration.
Restoration.
And we gave you the name, the species that we're using.
You did, because I was looking for a plant schedule.
They're on the cross-section. Well, if they're not, they're in language because we have a restoration
I believe they were in
detail.
the language somewhere that said roads.
No, I don't know if they're on the restoration plan. The second sheet. Up here. Here's our numbers, there's our species, it's called restoration. And generally, if it's a wetland restoration or replication, I go with 7-foot spacing, but upland, generally, I always go with 10-foot spacing on the woody. And we didn't, there's hemlock in there, and there's pine and oak, and normally when I, with the woolly adelgia, I don't do the hemlocks. The pines are in that area, and northern red oak are in that area. It's tree species. And then witch hazel, which is FAC up these days. It used to be FAC plus. That's in the forest that we have in here. American hazelnut, sweet pepper bush, facultative, can grow up into that upper zone, especially where the boulders are. It's quite extensive Clethra albifolia, that pepper bush going to our south. And the high bush, as EPA used to call it, it grows as well in upland as wetland, so we use those species there.
Okay. And the boulders, are they being removed from the site? Or
They're-
are they?
Could I ask the client, but I can say one thing, they're going to be removed from jurisdictional area.
Oh, that's my.
Could I, through the chairman,
Justin Bankston, 11 Potter Road.
thank you.
They'll be staying on site, just moved up, way up behind the house.
They will be out of
They're
the.
way out of the resource zone.
Question, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Does the commission feel the need for any non-creep barrier at the 100-foot mark?
Okay.
What are you gonna do?
I think you might have been implying some kind of boulder wall, or maybe boundaries or monuments, or,
I thought you're planting trees.
no, he meant so that in the future, we don't encroach into the 100-foot,
Or a future owner.
or anybody encroaches into that 100-foot.
We know that the Bankstons will know, but,
Yeah.
this is a permanent thing, 50 years down the line, So, if you're moving boulders, I was kind of implying that maybe some of the boulders might get placed at that 100-foot to give the permanent demarcation,
But we can absolutely,
okay.
we can absolutely do that.
Okay,
I have no problem with that.
all right.
Thank you.
Then we'll do that. Okay, anything else? Commission? Did we vote on a violation for this, a fine? Anybody remember?
I wasn't around.
Do you remember?
I believe you said you were gonna hold off until we had more details on
Oh,
everything.
okay,
That was like the first meeting.
all right.
Was I there?
No, that was a
No, you
long
were
time
not
ago.
here.
No,
It
that was
the year
before.
before. Yes.
So I didn't hear anything about that.
Okay, board, what's your pleasure? Ready to close the hearing? Anyone online for this public hearing? 1117 Potter? Seeing none?
Move, close the meeting.
Motion made by Joe, second by Mike. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mundrum, aye.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to issue a certificate? I mean, an order of conditions?
There's a lot of special conditions.
Mhm.
I'll
As
make the
previously-
motion, But I mean, I don't know all the.
As
special
previously discussed.
I have them written down. And they include, reiterate the Natural Heritage Endangered Species Program condition, that there'd be 2 years of monitoring, and to qualify as 1 year of monitoring, there has to be at least 6 months of growth for that particular year. And boulders, I guess in adequate numbers at the 100-foot per front area as a long-term demarcation.
I'll make the motion that we approve the notice of intent with those conditions.
Motion made by Mark?
Second.
Second by Joe. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mundrum, aye.
Okay, good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll
Happy
keep
Thanksgiving.
you informed as the beginning of our work. so
Please,
that
yes.
Once we go over the 10-day appeal period, and once we receive the order, of course, to get it recorded and get the DEP file number signed up.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck. Make some money.
Good job.
Excuse me?
Did a good job on the restoration plan.
Thank you very much.
Okay. The most important public hearing, 10:02. Amended order of conditions, 175 Southwest Main Street, floodplain storage. Brendan, were you up to date on this?
I called Byron, I got a little bit of background, but this is another one that I'm inheriting, and I'm doing the big catch-up. But I went to the site, familiarized myself enough, I have pictures, so I can share those as well. And I'll bring up the site plan.
Oh, wait, I think we have this unless it's a
Yeah, it's just
revision.
they covered them up again, so.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to have another recommendation for 2024 meetings and the start time.
Well, I'll have a comment after.
Okay, here you go.
I heard a comment. Name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Byron Andrews, Andrews Survey and Engineering, Dupree Engineering, 104 Mendon Street in Uxbridge. I'm here representing Lloyd Moran at 175 Southwest Main Street in Douglas. If everyone recalls, the question at hand at the previous meeting was, it was pointed out that the current notice of intent that was approved had an area of disturbance that was substantially different from what we were requesting with the amended order of conditions. I'm going to go into that into some detail. I'll try to be brief and be cognizant of the late hour, but it does go back to the original, basically to the beginning of the first application. So I'll try to summarize everything, and then if you have questions, I'll be happy to help out with that. So originally in the spring, in March of 2021, we applied for a notice of intent Mr. Moran wanted to add a garage and also put a foundation under his existing house. At the time, it basically has a crawl space there. The flood zone that we determined, and I want to speak to that both to summarize things and also in light of an earlier applicant. We determined the flood zone elevation by, we had previously done a letter of map amendment at 49 Lindbergh Avenue. And subsequent to that, we did another letter of map amendment at another property that's also on the edge of the pond. The way we determined the elevation, the flood elevation, is it's a flood zone A, so it doesn't have an established elevation, but it does show it crossing Webster Road at a certain location. So what we had done at the time was we got the elevations of Webster Road, and we found the elevation at which that line crosses, and we used that elevation. We were able to get a letter of map amendment, so that was, verified as a working elevation from FEMA. And that's the elevation we used for this flood zone. So when we applied in the spring of 2021, here's my little thing here, we had basically this area here on the left of the lot as the stand of pine trees. And in order to get flood storage for the work that was going on here, that would have to be removed. That was not a satisfactory outcome for the commission or for our client. So we kind of went back to the drawing board and we tried to use a different approach. And when we examined the flood elevation, the Zone A kind of cuts right across. And you can see the, underneath the proposed elevations here, the existing flood zone kind of goes like this and then back out, kind of U-shaped. So what we determined with that was that the area where the house was now had been excavated subsequent to the establishment of the flood zone. So in effect, our client created extra flood storage.
What's the elevation you came up with?
The elevation, I think, is the flood elevation.
I'm very interested because this will have potential ramifications on that other one.
Yeah.
I saw you raise your hand earlier, too. I wish you'd kept on.
I figured I'd be talking about it later, so I didn't need to interrupt.
Sorry, I didn't see you.
So we had a flood elevation of 498.85. I think they must be on an entirely different datum because obviously they're
Yeah.
like 650? 660,
Yeah.
yeah, so they're on a different datum. So anyway, that's how we established the flood elevation. And also, we established that that there was extra flood storage in excess of what normally they would have at this point. And that was the rationale for granting the previous order of conditions. And what we did was, after the notice of intent was submitted in March of 2021, we revised the plan a couple of times, it looks like. And in December of 2021, we had a plan that looked largely like this. And I've attached it to the second plan on that. And this is the plan from December of 2021. It preserves the stand of pines, and it allows the grading around the garage and around the house. And when we did that, we analyzed some, but not all of the volume that was created. Basically, we analyzed it to the point that we knew that we had more volume in excess than we were going to use. So after that, he submitted for a building permit, and the building commissioner wouldn't allow his building permit plan because the flood zone would go up to the side of his house. So in order to create a remove from that, we proposed a retaining wall and a filled area around around that section of the house, which is shown in orange on the handouts and on this. Obviously, that's more volume that needs to be accounted for. So we did the math again, and we basically included this area here in our calculations for our credit, I guess you would say, for flood zone. And when you include this area as area that had been previously excavated, you find that, again, we have additional flood storage in excess of what we were trying to use. That's kind of where we left things off at the last meeting, and then it was pointed out that the notice of intent that was approved had numbers for the flood storage area that were quite a bit different from what we were talking about now. So the reason for that, I look back at the plans and the paperwork, and the numbers on that notice of intent reflected the initial submission from spring of 2021 in the volumes that we're using for that, and not the one that was on the plan that was approved in December of 2021, or that was on the letter that we issued along with that plan in December of 2021. And I also noticed, and I just noticed this tonight as I was looking over the paperwork, was that the plan that's referenced in the order of conditions is a plan from May 15th of 2021, not the December 3rd or December 6th plan of 2021. So
It's not 5/15/23?
No, this one is December 3rd, 2021. And the one referenced in the order of conditions is, I believe, May 15th, 2021, or so an earlier iteration of the plan that still had that pine grove being taken out. So then the question is, okay, so what is our difference compared to what was reviewed in December of 2021? So in December 2021, the proposed volume that we were using for construction was 150 cubic yards. We were filling in 150 cubic yards, and we were calculating that we had at least 158 cubic yards of credit. So we were 8 cubic yards ahead of what had been removed. And the new one has an alteration of 174 cubic yards, so that's 24 cubic yards more. Translating that back to cubic feet, which is what's on the application, the December 2021 one listed was for 4,050 cubic feet. This one is 4,266 cubic feet. So what is that? So at that point, there's another question that came up, which is kind of why we're here in the first place talking about an amended order of conditions, which is that DEP said that if you are increasing the disturbance, then it has to be a new notice of intent, but it needs to be a substantial difference, and that the commission is the body that determines whether it's substantial. So the increase in volume that we're talking about is 16% above what was approved in December of 2021 and shown on the December 2021 plan. So then the question, I guess, before us now is, with all that behind us, is a 16% increase from what was approved in 2021 sufficient for an amended notice of intent, or does it have to be a new notice of intent?
I thought you already applied for an amended.
We applied for an amended. And if you say it's not a substantial change, then you can approve the amended notice of intent tonight. If you say it is a substantial change, then we have to go back and do a new notice of intent instead of the amended one that we've applied for.
Okay. Did you improve any other conditions from the plans? So did you have any net positive for this plan? Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, the only change on this plan was the inclusion of this area. Other than that, everything was proposed and approved is the same as what we're showing on this plan.
So the limited work doesn't change.
Right.
And we're good with flood storage.
With what?
Good with flood storage.
Yeah, you're good with flood storage.
And through the chair,
Yes.
the numbers on all that, presuming that order of conditions is going to be issued, because I'm playing catch-up again, are all the most recent, numbers for disturbance, cubic feet, square feet, linear feet of everything up to date in a place I can find it for putting into the order of conditions?
You have the correct numbers, right?
correct numbers
From the
are-
August, so we received this August 3rd, 2023. Nothing has changed since
Correct.
then. So the plan,
And what is the most recent plan? I have one received June 26 with the most recent revision date of 5/15/23.
That is the most recent plan.
Okay, good. So that's the plan that you're voting on probably tonight.
and you've sent everything to DEP,
Yeah.
the plan and everything?
Yep. Yeah, that's why we received the DEP comments. and,
Okay,
uh,
all right. I know you've been working on this a
Yeah.
long time. And you've already received an amendment, right? An amended from 2021. We amended it, correct?
I don't believe so. I think we have just the original order of conditions. I have a copy of
Or
it.
you came back for minor modification? Thought there was an in-between approval.
I think that might be when we came back for the amended one, and originally when we came in, we weren't sure if we needed to apply for amended order of conditions, or if it
Okay.
could be approved outside of that, so I think that's what you think about when we came in just with the plan. But
Okay,
then we
and-
applied for the amended order conditions after that.
Okay. And your original order, so the amended order shall run with the term of the original order.
Correct.
The effective date. So you're at almost 3 years.
All right, so we'll have to renew that.
So,
Can't get rid of you.
I know.
Yeah, I'm going to have Jen send me that original order of conditions so I can get that date.
I have a copy of it if you want.
I would love it. Thank you so much.
Wow, there you go.
hey, here's your Jen.
Ye shall receive. And
Just
it's
like that.
It's been recorded.
Hmm?
Sometimes you can look at it.
Okay, so commission, he's already advertised, I think we had a consensus that we would consider this as an amendment, because you're already past the decision time, you've advertised, you sent it to DEP. So I think we gave a consensus a while ago that we would consider it as an amended.
Yeah.
So, what? What? What?
I'm familiar with this site, and it's never going to flood, so I'm all for an amended order of conditions personally.
Okay, all right. What?
I mean, relatively compared to the other applicant on Bad Lick Pond that we looked at tonight, I mean, this is much higher elevation.
Okay,
Yeah, I'd have to agree, yeah.
okay.
Close.
Anyone online? Nope. Anyone in the audience? I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion made by Joe,
Second.
seconded by Mike. All those in favor?
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mungum, aye.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
in that stack that I gave you,
Yes.
this one in here, because I just noticed that 11 and 17 Potter Road were not in there,
No.
which means that I'm going to have to ask them for a 21-day extension on that one. So is that one in there?
Which one?
Is this one here, 175?
No.
It's not in there.
No.
So our secretary didn't put the signature pages for this one, so it's not getting signed tonight.
Okay.
Would your client be willing to sign a 21-day extension so we could sign it at the next meeting?
Ooh. So, we can we could request to come in to sign.
You'll do that?
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
And they also still accept the electronic signatures.
That's right.
Yeah, so, that's okay. What's the 21 day? What's his 21 day up?
Well, this is presuming that you're back to
Yeah.
signing in person
Yeah.
and that nobody comes in, because that's what I'm used to in my other towns.
No.
I got to work. I'm busy. I ain't coming in.
Two of us
It's been
are
presumption,
already,
sorry.
two of us are already here a lot.
Okay.
So, no, we'll take a little bit of time, but
Okay, all right.
I don't think it's gonna be needed
All right, good.
for the extension.
Yeah, whenever it's ready, I can get up there.
Yeah.
I'm right
Yeah.
next town.
Yeah. Okay. Even closer. So I will entertain a motion to issue an amended order of conditions for 175, 181 Southwest Main Street.
So moved.
I think it was Joe, Mike second, all those in favor.
Joe Fitzpatrick, aye.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Okay, thank you very much. And check that expiration and put in your request
Yep, I will.
when you think you need it.
Yep.
Okay. Commission, we all set? Next meeting, December 18th?
Why don't we have a meeting in early December?
I don't know. I have no idea.
No, it's at 18th
What?
on mine.
What do you think about a 6:30 starting time
What?
6:30 starting time
for 24?
for 2024?
Yeah. Might run late a couple days, but for the most part, you'll be all right.
To change the time?
Are we talking about the schedule for 2024?
Yes. Can we,
don't know.
we can amend it on, we've already voted on the schedule, so we can amend it at the next meeting, if everybody wants to think about it.
I'm just talking out loud.
Okay. All right, let's think about it, everybody.
Sounds good.
I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved. Motion made by Mark,
Second.
second by Mike. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Mike Greco, aye.
Mark Mungem, aye.
Thank you.